Yes! What's up? Sturgill motherfucking Simpson. Dude, you been on a ride? This is the last time I talked to you.
When was that?
Well, last time I talked to you wasn't that long ago. But last time you've been in here.
I'm hearing things kind of...
Is it something wonky?
It was boomy almost. I feel like it.
Is there something wrong with that? Something wrong with the headphones?
Might be just me.
Might it be the weed? Is that fucking weed?
Did it just change?
Well, you ever,
Yeah, that sounds better. Thank you.
What'd you
it's
do,
a little
Jamie?
Centralized.
Put some fucking effects on that, bitch?
He didn't touch anything. He's just asking, is it fed better?
So, yeah, I mean, you're blowing the fuck up, dude. I have to get this out of the way before we even start talking. It's fascinating to watch.
Why is that?
Well, because, it's always fascinating to watch someone who you think is very talented get recognized. And I think you're very talented. So then becoming friends with you, it's interesting, to talk to you and to see what it's like and see
me process it all in real time. Yeah.
Well, to see you
probably got some interesting insight, I would imagine.
Yeah, I guess so. For me, it was a slow one. It was a slow burn. It took a long time and a lot of different shows till it started getting really weird. It was pretty manageable.
News radio, was that, how long were you out here before that happened?
Oh, I came out here for a show right before that. I was on another show called Hardball. There was this baseball show. So that was maybe 6 months before News Radio. So I wasn't out here very long. I came out here specifically for that Hardball show.
And then things just sort of, opportunities turn into other things.
Yeah, it ebbs and flows and comes and goes. But the News Radio fame was non-existent. Nobody ever recognized me, ever. But you're getting recognized now.
Not too much, man.
No?
I mean, in specific towns where we do better, yeah. But it's most, 99% of the time, people are really cool.
Yeah, isn't that the fact?
Yeah.
That's really what's up. 99% of the time, people are really cool.
And even the 1% are still cool. It's just it lasts a little too long. I don't know.
It's the outliers, the extreme cases that aren't, the 1% of the 1%. That could be issues.
I mean,
it's not even that.
In the grand scheme of things, I don't feel like I've really blown up that big. You know what I mean? It's. I feel like I've clawed my way to the beginning, as it were.
That's a good way to look at it. But it's some. Well, I mean, what's the beginning? What's the what's the top? I don't know
exactly.
What I do know is that there's a lot of people that will text me, dude. Have you heard of Sturgill Simpson? Holy shit!
Even now?
Yeah,
really?
Even now.
Man, it's. Although I guess transitionally it's been in the last couple of years, 3 years, but I've been doing this my whole life, to various levels of thanklessness. But yeah, a lot of years in honky tonks and just dive bars where you were background noise. So now that I'm older, I think that's been the best part of it is I'm clear and focused enough, and I have enough responsibilities in my life to where I'm not taking it for granted. Does that make sense?
100%.
Trying to really use it as the opportunity that it is to do something hopefully bigger than just myself. So,
well, being a famous singer, you affect people. In a singer and a songwriter, you affect people in a very strange way. There's an intense emotion that's connected to a song that really moves you. There's this intense connection, and so I think for someone like you, it's great that you've got all this life experience. I think that helps so much, man. I think if you're a fucking Justin Bieber type character, boy, you're almost guaranteed to be fucked. That kind of scrutiny, you do.
How old was he when that all started? I mean,
he's a baby.
I mean,
he was a baby.
I know who he is, but I couldn't tell you a single song
Not
the
a
kid
single
sing.
one.
But yet I know who he is. Why is that?
Well, he's famous as fuck.
He's famous as fuck. But yeah, the poor guy. I mean, I don't want to. Well,
yeah, the poor guy.
Nobody could.
Nobody.
It's easy to judge and sit back and be like, "Oh, he's such a fuck up." The kid has a very rare and unique perspective on the life experience.
Yeah. Look, that kid is doing a splendid job. He's
fucking up just enough.
Yeah, he's fucking up a little bit, but, he's fine. In comparison to what a normal person would be with that kind of insane reach like that. It was just what it must be like for him to just try to go through a group of girls. He gets attacked like dogs. They will fight for him. They'll claw at him. What the fuck, man? He's only like 19 or something, right? Is he 19? That's insane. That's insane. It's got to be so hard to keep your shit together and to have a balanced perspective, because his only perspective is one of fame. So you talking about the honky tonks and you know, when you were here last time, you talked about crazy jobs you had. Like, you worked on a train, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about that kind of shit. Go from that kind of shit to where you are now. You have a earned perspective, an earned perspective. Whereas
it's still hard to feel like when you say earned, though, like my life's pretty cool now, man. Like, I get to go out and make art for a living and support my family and play music. So
yeah,
I mean,
it's awesome.
It's kind of dope.
For sure.
But even that said, as long as it took to get here, and even the last 3 years, like, we toured our asses off, man, like going in circles to kind of build it organically. And I feel really proud about that, because no matter what happens up or down, I can feel like I accomplished something with merit.
Yeah.
But
well, it's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time for artists, you know. Because
we're
so
definitely
many people,
in a moment.
Yeah, right?
For sure.
It seems like a moment with music, it's definitely a moment with stand-up comedy. We all talk about it. It's like the best time ever for stand-up. I think country music,
I'm still
too.
getting over Brian Holtzman. Who's the guy that did the last set that night? Dude, I was traumatized. Like, that was an experience, man. I can't even tell you. Because you motherfuckers didn't tell me what was coming. We just like, you gotta go see this guy's set. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I'm watching this guy bomb harder than anything I've ever seen. He's like telling people in the audience to just start fucking. And I mean, but he's like, I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was amazing.
It was awesome.
And then after the set, he's like, he's like, holy shit, that was all just genius.
Yeah, he's genius. Brian Holtzman's genius, 100%. And he
people were running out of the room, man. Like, literally, this takes two women. They ran out of the room to get away from this thing happening on the stage.
The vile expression of toxic masculinity on stage. Yeah, Brian does the Kinnison spot, which is the last spot of the night. So the last guy on the Comedy Store, most spots at the Comedy Store.
The nightcap.
Yeah, last spot at the Comedy
Patented.
Store just goes on from, like, I guess he gets on probably somewhere around 12:30, maybe 1-ish, and then he might go till 2. You know,
so he's got a long stretch.
He does whatever he wants.
Wow.
That's why it's the Kinnison spot.
How long has he been in that spot?
Well, he's the perfect guy for that spot, and he does it on and off. He's been there at the store as long as I have. He's been there at the store since 94. I met him in 94.
Is it always in that room?
No, he does the little room, too. That's where I first met him. When I first met him, he was like this promising up-and-coming guy that would go on in the smaller room. And, he was like one of the hot up-and-coming guys. But he always kept like a real job. But in my opinion, he's one of the best comics in the world. He just doesn't get a chance to show it to people.
Right.
Like, we've tried to talk about like what would be the best way to let people know. And I think because he changes his stuff so much, I think just putting cameras on him every night, filming these Kinnison spots that he does every Friday and Saturday night. It's. I tell everybody, if you want to see some comedy,
it's a tough one, because to make people aware, to let them know, you kind of have, you almost in a way sort of have to give away what makes it what it.
I don't know, man. It doesn't bother me. I know, and I think it's fucking genius. I know he's a great guy, and it's. But I mean, we're kind of beating around the bush here. He says obviously ridiculously offensive things that he doesn't really mean. It's
oh my god!
I fucking have always loved that style of comedy, and he's, in my opinion, like one of the best ever at it. He's a monster. Just people don't know for whatever, but they don't know because he never left.
Right.
He stayed at the store, and that's his spot. He stayed in L.A., and he always kept a job. He always had a job. He was a meter maid at one point. He's had a bunch of jobs like that.
Kind of a Bukowski type guy.
Exactly, but you got to do it all for him. Like, someone's got to come along and do it all for him.
Better. Cool.
Oh, really? Yeah. Let's just take these off, man. Let's be casual, bro.
Let's be.
But yeah,
I can't wear them in the studio either, man.
Really?
Yeah,
they bug you?
They fuck with me. It's just not. It's not a natural. You're responding to what you hear in your ears, as opposed to the.
It's good for some people because some people don't realize how goofy it sounds when everybody talks over everybody. Like if you have 3 people and they don't have the ear things
That's what
on.
we were talking about before you came in about the fight podcast and stuff.
Yeah, so with the fight podcast, we do 4 people, and we made it mandatory. Like, you gotta wear earphones because we're drunk and stoned, and we're talking over each other. People are chewing into the mic; they don't know how bad it sounds. People eating pickles, potato chips, and pickles into the fucking microphone, and it's just like, oh my god! I would get these screaming texts from people: "Stop chewing into the fucking microphones!" So we had to institute the headphones policy. But for a gentle conversationalist like yourself, it's very easy. Put those aside. Are you like when you were touring like all those 3 years when you were going crazy and touring like a maniac? Have you settled that down to more manageable sort of a schedule?
Yeah, it would have been fine otherwise. I mean, I've always lived out of a bag, really, you know what I mean, and wanted to be moving all the time. So, like, in that regard, it's kind of ideal, but it just, the timing was a little bittersweet.
Right.
My son was born about a month after the last record came out.
Wow.
So, I was home for that, and then basically, like, three or 4 days after he was born, I had to go to Europe for some shows, and then press started rolling in, and word of mouth, and the record just started selling.
Dude, it's like a movie.
And my wife is very supportive, and I wouldn't have moved to Nashville in the first place to do anything without her like telling me you can do this. You know what I mean? I'd just probably still be working at the railroad. So when it all kind of came about, you know, she basically said, you know, we didn't come here and like you do everything up until this point to not be able to go and because you have to now, you have to tour,
right?
So I did, and I think missing out what was going on at home, and carrying some sense of guilt maybe for that, because even though like I'm out here and my dreams are coming true, it's providing for my family. But when we come home after 5 or 6 weeks, and then I've got a week at home before leaving again, I'm just kind of I was seeing what I was missing in incremental stages, you know, and I think it took a toll on me emotionally in a way that I wouldn't have anticipated. So that's kind of where this record came from.
I don't go on that kind of tour, but when I go away just for a few days, just for 4 or 5 days, it bumps me out. Yep. You know, when you come back home, this rush of love, you know.
That's a good way to put it.
It's what it's like. It's like this, when I come home, like I just got back from the road. I was in Boston this weekend. I come home on Sunday. And when your kids run up to you and jump into your arms and you're carrying them and talking to them, you know, it's like, it's very hard to describe for anybody that, like, doesn't have any children or doesn't have close friends with children. It's very hard to describe. It's a fucking game changer. It's a game changer. It changes who you are.
Instantly.
Yeah. You're just a different thing. You're a different, your perspective on the world is so different. And I don't think it's mandatory. And I think this is important to say. Because, man, it used to bum me the fuck out when people who were fathers or mothers would treat you like you were doing something wrong because you didn't have kids.
Or like there was something wrong with you if you didn't have. No, that's bullshit.
Or they would tell you that you don't even know about life until you have kids, or that, you know, yeah, it's a perspective enhancer. But guess what? A lot of shit's a perspective enhancer. Like, you don't have to do it. But for me, because I just hate when people tell people, you know, that it's like this mandatory aspect of life. I think you could absolutely have a fulfilled life and never procreate.
A lot of people shouldn't be parents, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Almost every girl I ever dated. Stay out of the business. That's not true. But they changed too, man. I have a buddy of mine. His ex-girlfriend was crazy, just off the charts crazy. Just wild. Girl's out of her mind. Just drugs and sex and chaos. She had a kid. Bam! Snapped out of it. Eats healthy, organic. She's super mom.
Wasn't about her anymore.
It also is about a fresh chance to do something correct and raise a child with love and not create someone like yourself. It's this weird eye-opening thing, I think, for a lot of people when they realize where all their anger comes from, it comes from not being raised correctly. That's a giant part of most people's lives, is what kind of an interaction are you having with the people that love you. And if you get programmed like real early on that love means hitting and screaming and chaos and yelling and fighting, dude, by the time, when I was a kid, man, I used to look about marriage like somebody wanted to serve me plates of shit for the rest of my life. Like, what? Like, why would you do that? Because what I grew up with was just chaos. I grew up with people yelling at each other and hitting each other and, fuck this. And you don't realize, I think, until you have a little baby that you're watching learn and develop, and you're sort of data crunching all this shit, all these events in this child's life, and you're experiencing all this with them. And the way you're experiencing with them is this intense bond of love, but of guidance. So you have to guide this little person. And so while I'm doing that, and just little moments and events in my daughter's lives, little conversations that we have that make me sort of process how they view the world and how they think about things, that has made me just so much more aware of where a lot of my own weird personality quirks have come from. You know?
Well, it's like looking into your own eyes.
Yeah.
So you're seeing, everything's instantly recognizable. It's, but yeah, that's a good way. What did you just say? You said seeing their perspective,
Yeah.
But they're just mirroring whatever you're doing.
Yeah, because they don't hide things.
No.
They don't hide emotions. They don't hide thoughts. And if you can open up lines of communication with them really young and get them constantly used to talking about feelings and about thoughts and about why do you get those feelings, like they'll get jealous of each other. Why does she get a new toy? Well, why do you care if she has a new toy?
Yeah.
Like, why does that bother you if somebody else has something good? And you see their little brain going, oh yeah, like, because there's this like animal fucking instinct that makes you want to get upset about something. And you're like, what? Her friend gave her a toy. Where's my shit? And you got to like, whoa. You were happy until you found out that something good happened to someone you love?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense now, does it?
No.
And they're like, oh, yeah. You can see the little fucking tiny brain spinning. Like,
He's just starting to talk, so we'll get there. But for
Dude,
now, it's like
it's a trip.
We really like playing drums together. So that's probably the...
That's awesome. When he's talking to you, did it freak you out? It's happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was there for a while. There was this little period where it was like 10 words every day, and you don't even know they're picking them up until they say them, and they'll look at something and say it, and we haven't had this lesson yet, and it's like, wow, man. Or when they express emotions and or even to see them at such a young age understanding how to manipulate situations, you know what I mean? That's really interesting social dynamic.
You're
ingrained.
watching like a primitive game of chess, a little primitive child chess. My daughter was 3, and we were skiing, and she was packing her stuff up, and she didn't have her helmet in her suitcase, so she had her suitcase closed, and then my wife goes, hey, you forgot your helmet, and she goes, shit. She was 3. When a 3-year-old goes, shit, like a nice long one.
Knew just how to say it, yeah.
I had to bite my hand to keep from laughing. I mean, I try to encourage, like, stuff that's funny as much as possible, but you can't encourage them swearing because they don't have the self-control to, like, shut it off when they go to school. And you don't want to be the parents that teach the kids that swearing around that. But it is fine. It really is. The fuck are we doing? Is restricting the use of words to children. It's like, why?
I'm about over the PC thing, man.
Oh my God, it's driving me fucking bananas. But this one is just fucking crazy. So it's just so crazy. Why swears? Just seems so strange. Like,
doesn't seem to be an issue much anywhere else in the world you go.
Well, for adults in business, I kind of understand not using them.
Formalities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For formalities. I mean, if you want to know someone's
it is a rather lazy form of linguistics, though. I mean,
sure.
But hey, it feels good. So.
Well, it can be lazy, but it's like everything else.
I think it's stress related, honestly, man.
Swearing?
I think it comes from anxieties and stress induced variables. I remember, like, in the Navy, it's fuck this, fuck that, fuck, like every other word. And when I worked at the railroads, some salty language out there. I mean, because you're under this, like, highly efficient expectation all the time.
Mm.
And there's all these creative personalities and ideas bouncing off each other in these little confined spaces, and everybody's just wound tighter than a banjo string.
It can be used a gang of ways, though, right? It's also used as like a pause sometimes. People use it in place of
a meter tool.
Well, well, sometimes people don't know what they're gonna say next, and they want to say but instead they replace it with fuck. Like fucking guy with his fucking. I'm fucking sitting there, right? I'm fucking talking to this, like that kind of. That's where it gets real lazy. That's like. Most people don't even realize like the weird tics they have. I didn't realize how many times I'd say or you know what I mean. Or like, the word like is a fucking dangerous one, because you could be talking to someone and not pick it up, but then once you do pick it up,
it's all you hear.
It's all you hear.
It's all you hear.
Like people who have that little weird roadblock, and they have a blind side, they didn't see it, a blind spot, and they just say like all the time.
Like.
It's terrifying because it might be me. I mean, definitely have been. Tommy Segura's got it bad. Segura's got it bad. He's got it bad. He's a likeaholic. He loves it.
He hams it up a little bit, but like on that video he did in Cleveland this weekend, did you see that?
I didn't see that.
That's really funny.
Was it him and Hannibal Buress?
No. He was on news.
Was playing that character.
Yeah.
I did see that. Our friend Tom Segura was in this morning show. You ever do those? Do you have to do those morning shows?
No, I don't. I don't do those.
Good for you.
My career will suffer to some degree because of it, but man, I would never ask anyone to deal with me in a situation like that. So it's best just to know what you are and accept it.
Do you get a hard time for not wanting to do like certain kinds of press? Do they give you a hard time?
Not really.
No?
I mean, I think most of the people that I've been working with for a while now, they know who they're dealing with. And I don't mind doing the press. Honestly, it's at a certain point it becomes, I think, counterproductive or even destructive because I don't know. You end up repeating things a lot.
Yes.
To the point that you're asked the same question so many times that without even realizing it, you find yourself giving verbatim answers.
Right.
And that's when you know it's time to stop talking about it. Because it's and the more like I said, the more I feel like I talk about it, you're sort of denying people a better chance to interpret it in a way that's going to make it mean even more to them. And they'll hear it in a way that maybe I didn't even mean it.
Your memories become weird to you when you talk about them all the time too. When you talk about certain things, and you repeat yourself over and over again, it almost becomes a script to you. Like the memories of those things get weird.
I realized, like I said, I've been playing music forever, but all this other stuff was very sudden transition. But being a naturally skeptical person and self-aware, like you get in these situations, and I sort of realized there's a certain theatric to it all. You know what I mean? And then once you get past the reality of that, and then you learn enough about it to know that you can sit and talk for 3 hours, literally, but it's not a representation of what you talked about. You can talk about everything under the sun, and they might take one little sentence that had nothing to do with anything, and an editor decides that should be the title of the article that is now written from some preconceived stance that you were unaware of during the conversation. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
The written word is especially problematic.
You can't print context.
You can't print context, and it's literally someone's interpretation. It's art that's interpreting an individual. So if someone writes a story about you, it's really art because it's their own way of flavoring this whole interaction. They try to do it with, colorful descriptives, and they try to use bold adjectives and try to figure out a way to paint it in the most entertaining way as well as get some point across. So I think sometimes with a lot of guys,
they're also just trying to get you to click on their website.
Yep, that's true. But the way to do that is with a good entertainment. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an actual factual representation of who you are. Like if someone writes a story about you, like what's almost more important is this art of getting something salacious. There's art of writing something that makes you say, "Oh, this guy is wild," or "This guy's," it has to be like this one thing. Sturgill Simpson first fucked a man when he was 14. You know what I mean? Like something like first sentence, like, "Hey, Jesus, where the fuck is this article going?" Not really, but he would have you believe that. You know what I mean? Like it starts.
I didn't realize it until it's when you meet people on the street and you realize they have these crazy misinformed ideas about who you are and what you represent and like, you know, what you are. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that was a good lesson learned.
Yeah, that's a good lesson
Like,
for anybody.
I'm actually just kind of a dork, and
What's that?
it's really just like a dork, and but you're like this outlaw tough guy, like, you know, fucking dirt to dirt.
That's what they think.
I don't know.
Some of them.
Some of them probably do.
People are always looking for that, though, right? Aren't they
I
always
guess
looking for
so.
the outlaw country guy?
It seems to be the case.
Yeah, like there was a shooter had a song making fun of all these like fake outlaws.
I think
They
his
should
dad
outlaw
had a
you?
song making fun
Yeah.
of all that shit too. I mean,
His dad did. Well, his dad was the real thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be hard to look at some fake outlaws with designer scratches in their jeans, like they got attacked by a fucking leopard or some shit. I mean, that looks so stupid. And when your dad is fucking Waylon Jennings, that's got to be even more offensive.
I can't imagine, man.
You know, when they see these guys with a hat that they just got 15 minutes before they went on stage, someone handed it to them and placed it perfectly, and someone's doing their hair and checking and making sure everything's good, and they send them out there to be an outlaw. Sober, on Adderall, probably beta blockers.
It's something that I couldn't possibly describe to you how little I pay attention to it.
Yeah. To country or to music in general?
Country, but even anymore, I don't really listen to much going on.
Are you buddies with that guy, Jason? How do you say
Isbell?
his Isbell.
Yeah.
That's the right way to say it?
Yeah.
Dude, I just got into him a couple weeks ago.
Genius.
Fantastic. I listened to that his most recent album like the entire time I was in Mexico. I was in Mexico for like a week. I just listened to him the entire time.
Yeah, we use Jason, played some shows together. He's a good dude, man. Good. You should have him on the podcast.
I would love to.
Interesting
He
guy.
seems
Really
like
smart dude.
Great writer.
Oh, yeah. He's kind of the guy.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, the lyrics, incredible, intense, just so really well structured too.
That's
You know?
the other thing about this job is you meet people that you hit it off with, but you never hang out because you're never at home. So we've been trying for like 2 years to take our wives to dinner, man. But like, it's one or the other. You're either on tour or somebody's back, or
I know exactly what it's like. Comedians, we work together a lot. That's how
Right.
we do it. We also work together at the store. That's why the store is like a great base. It's like home base. So everybody goes to the store. So we meet each other in the store during the weeknights. And then a lot of times in the weekends, we'll work together. It's a bit, like if we do big theater shows especially.
how
You know,
many
like
nights a week
Vegas.
do you think you're down there?
The store?
Yeah,
At least 2. Always at least 2.
just working.
Yeah, it depends on how many nights I'm in town, you know. But it's convenient for me because my spots are always after 10, so my kids are already asleep.
Right.
So I can jet out after I put them to bed. I can get, you know, they go to bed at like 8, so I'm gone. You know, it's perfect. And it's also like for anybody who does the road a lot, it's a nice wake up call. You know, like you just see these animals going up in there. You know, Chris Rock will show up working on his Oscar
He
speech.
showed up that Saturday night.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Chappelle shows up all the time. Louis shows up all the time. Bill Burr's there all the time. I mean, just all the
They're
assassins.
just hopping up and testing out new stuff, or keeping their
fucking
chops
around,
up, or is
keeping the
it?
chops up, testing out new stuff, all the above. You're just working, you know.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's act is sort of like a work in progress, you know. And when you're close to them, and you watch it from them, like Joey Diaz, who I think is the funniest guy of all time. He's the funniest guy ever. I never laughed harder than watching him. But I watch his bits. I watch him develop, like because I'm working with him all the time.
Right.
That's some of the more interesting things about one of the more interesting things about being friends with a lot of comedians is watching all the different styles of like creation, how they do it, how they piece it together.
It's just like songwriting. There's no right way to do it.
Yeah.
or a wrong way. But man, I tell you what, just that I've only I'm just now getting to spend any time out here, but there's something about that world. Just the couple of times I've gone and spent time in that place, it's a totally different headspace than anything I'm used to or accustomed to, and you can see there's definitely a sense of community.
Oh yeah.
And there's a palpable underlying darkness
Oh yeah.
to it all. But I think what I like the most about it is there's no gray area. all in all, everybody seems to be pretty black and white and like real as fuck.
You can get away with some ridiculous shit on that stage too, because it's just the way it's always been. Like Holtzman, without giving any of his set away.
Right.
Some of the things that he was saying, you're like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, dude, I know you're enjoying that too, because I was sitting there just like, holy shit. Like,
he was particularly on fire that night too. Like the screaming at people and. Oh,
so what happens
God.
when somebody gets up and just jumps on the stage and goes for him?
That's happened before.
The dude with his girlfriend, I was just like, what is happening right now? Holy shit, man. That was intense.
But the people were laughing, but people have attacked him.
Really?
Yeah. Martin Lawrence's bodyguard knocked him out.
Does that go south? I mean, then what?
I wasn't there. I missed the festivities, but from what I understand, Martin Lawrence was in the audience, and him and Holtzman were going back and forth. And Holtzman went over to the table to point out that it was actually Martin Lawrence that he was being heckled by. And Martin's bodyguard gets up, punches him in the head, knocks him out. That was one time I heard. But there was some other stuff too.
Damn.
One time he took an ashtray, and Ari was talking about this the other day. The Comedy Store, especially like in the early days, had these thick fucking glass ashtrays, old school bar ashtrays.
I'm sure many people got murdered with one of those fucking things. Man.
Well, Holtzman was talking about Charlie's Angels and how angry he was that anybody really fucking believes a woman could kick all those men's asses. I take her, and he grabs an ashtray, and I'll fucking crush her. And he throws the ashtray at the table and shatters his fucking ashtray.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, it's like, whoa. He blew an ashtray up in the room. I mean, glasses flying all over the fucking place. I mean, he really threw this ashtray down on this table and shattered it. It was a small crowd, but someone easily could have got hit with a hunk of glass. That glass is probably still on that ground.
Shards.
They probably haven't cleaned it.
Decades later.
You definitely could probably find the shards.
Damn, dude.
But he's going for it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things we were talking about. Like, there's when you're writing a song, I guess it's probably similar too, where you're creating this narrative. You're being a separate person, maybe, than you are in real life, and you're creating it, and you're seeing it from that person's perspective. But when a guy like Holtzman is doing that on stage, he's doing something similar, but because it's just talking, people don't accept it as not really his opinion.
Right.
They think that he's just a fucking asshole and a misogynist and a this and a that, and it's not just like he's a character in a movie that's playing an asshole that's happened to be hilarious, which we accept with no reservation. It's weird, right?
It's I don't know. I was just enamored, like, after the fact, and then looking back on what I'd just seen, how when he's in the moment of playing the frustrated, this is such, what's the point? It's like,
right.
But he was just so in that it has to make me feel like big part of it's coming from a very real place too,
Oh yeah. It's just, I mean, he's not carrying that around with him all the time, but that's definitely coming from a real place. He has this bit about Hillary. I can't give it away.
Kind of cathartic in a way.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. But he's a very smart guy.
Obviously,
but he's legitimately frustrated at the world around him.
Who isn't?
Yeah, but if you're not, then you're not paying attention. I mean, it's that simple. In this day and age, look, what we all should try to do, and I know you agree, is try to be as harmonious as you can in your life, in your personal life, in your friendships, harmonious as you can. The problem today is that in this day and age, we have access to all the stories everywhere. There's too many of us. That's too much data to crunch. You're only going to get the shitty ones, because the shitty ones are the ones that you're going to hear about, because those are the ones, ISIS cuts baby's head off. Holy shit, the baby was listening to rap music.
That shit doesn't scare me, man. I don't worry about ISIS and things like that. I worry more about
natural disasters.
Well, that's weird you should say that. Whenever we talk, I get hung up on fault lines and the inevitable. But my wife makes fun of me about it. No, I mean, I guess I should be worried about ISIS, but hell, these like neo-Nazi bent perspective Zionist groups scare me more than ISIS. Like people
the homegrown ones.
Yeah, the ones actually here in our country. That,
like the Oregon guys.
I don't want to. I don't. Man, I
You know
watched
what I'm talking
about
about?
2 minutes of that, and I was like, I can't even look at this. So
We still never found out who called them Al Qaeda. We never
Oh.
figured it out. We believe someone on this show named them Al Qaeda.
Al Qaeda.
It was either that or it was a comic that we know
Wow.
named them
Yeah, I
Al
googled
Qaeda.
it. In fact, I saw it a lot of times on Google, so I don't know where it started.
It might not have even started there then. The person who said it might have heard it first. Either way, what a fucking great name. Al Qaeda. I fucking love that name.
What did I mean, I honestly did step away. What ended up happening with all that?
One guy got shot and killed.
Okay.
And then there was some guys turned themselves in. And, there was a standoff for a long period of time. It had to do with grazing and cattle on public land.
BVM, what do they call it?
Department of Land Management, DLM. Is it DLM land? Is that it? Bureau of Land Management, BLM?
Yeah, that's
BLM?
it. That's it. There's a mountain range in Utah that was still BLM land, and a lot of the hunters were. There's like a 100-year ban on is the Okra, I think, Okra Mountain Range on the other side of the valley, and they were getting ready to open it back up after 100 years. So they said
Well, most people don't have this in their country. Most countries don't have giant swaths of public land that you can hunt and fish on.
right.
That was all because of Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt faced so much pressure to not do that and to give into that he wound up leaving. Was he a Republican or a Democrat? I feel like the Democrats used to be the more conservative ones back in the day. And then the Republicans were the more open-minded and liberal. And somewhere along the line, the polar axis has shifted. At least that's what I've read. Anyway, Teddy Roosevelt, he deemed all of this land all over the country as public land. And you could never do anything with it. You can't fucking put cities in it. You can't do shit with it. This is just public land, and this is land owned by the people of the United States.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of like really shady politicians that have looked at our debt because the United States has massive debt, and they said, look, this is one way we can get rid of this debt. We can sell some of our public land. I think Paul Ryan, that guy that's one of the presidential guys, I think he bowed out of the presidential election, but he was one of the guys that was. It was one of his proposals, and people, the like outdoors people that hike and hunt and fish, they were going fucking crazy. They're like, you can't do this. Like you can't. But you look at it on CNN. You look at it. It's like one of the most important things about what makes this country amazing is some of our natural resources, our parks.
Well, there's nothing else like it on the planet.
Yeah, Yosemite. I mean, go to Yosemite if you don't think there's some majesty in places in the world, like almost like a magic land. You look at those mountains and you see a grizzly bear and you see a fucking herd of bison. You're like, holy shit. Like this, what is this? This is a wild park. You can go through this park and you might get eaten by a grizzly. Go ahead. Good luck. I mean, you're in a world where people are fucking coddled and pampered and every edge is covered by a thick chunk of Nerf.
Shit gets real.
Dude, you could walk through Yellowstone and 2 people over the last 5 years have been killed by bears.
It happens more than you think.
Yeah, man, my friend was there. He heard wolves howl. He said it was the craziest shit. He said, we're in Yosemite, and you hear, "Arr!" You hear it. "Arr, arr!" And I was like, is it like a coyote? He's like, no, it's a fucking wolf, man. It's different.
That'd be bad way to go. Speaking of Roosevelt and Yellowstone, have you ever been to that big ranger station that, I think he's the one that had it built out there, but it's this 20-story high cabin. There's all these weird wooden... You can go.
No, I've heard of it, but I've never been
it's
in that.
amazing.
And it's really old building?
It's really old. I mean, over 100 years old. All the forest rangers, I think, I hope I'm getting that right, lived in it. But it's pretty much like the coolest treehouse you'll ever see anywhere on the planet. But it's a big hunting lodge.
Wow.
You should check it out if you're ever out there.
Imagine those days, man, when they only, we have a pretty clear view from all the data we've taken in, all the photographs and video and all the people's accounts. We have a clear view of what this country's like.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know about the drive to Vegas from L.A. We know about going up the coast of San. You know what I'm saying? We know some. But in the Teddy Roosevelt days, They were like 50 years into pictures.
That's undaunted courage,
Yeah.
man.
Right? They had their first pictures were in the late 1800s, right? So the Teddy Roosevelt age, I mean, this motherfucker was, they barely knew anything.
No.
The fuck did they, what year was Roosevelt president?
Early 1900s, 1909.
So think about that. They'd only had pictures for like, what, 50 or 60 years? How many pictures of Yellowstone? Or of the Colorado Rockies, or all the different types of wildlife you're going to run into. How about a wolverine? You got a photo of a wolverine yet? Imagine stumbling across that fucking thing for the first time. Going, Jesus, what is that? Fuck, man. I was watching this video the other day with this dude who was driving his fucking car. He watched a wolf and a mountain lion fighting to the death. They were duking it out right in front of him. He stopped his car, and he said they were so close that he could reach out and touch the wolf. And so he's sitting there in his car while this wolf and this mountain lion are fucking engaged in mortal combat.
I'm cool. I'm good, man.
What a crazy trip that would be to see that. And, you know, if you were in the Teddy Roosevelt
Like
days,
if I knew they weren't coming through the windshield, yeah,
Right.
I'd go see that. But I mean, I'm getting out of the car. I don't know. Yeah, we drive through Yellowstone every time. It never fails. If there is a grizzly sighting,
yeah.
you get there and there's like 20 carloads of people standing out on the street with their cameras out, and a ranger standing there saying, "Please get back in your car. You're entering the food chain." The guy was so sardonic about it. I was just like, "This is amazing."
This is it right here. This is the video. This is the wolf, and the look. The mountain lion has the wolf by the neck. Wow, the mountain lion jacked him. That is crazy. Look at the mountain lion winning.
I think I'd rather get eaten by a great white shark than taken out by a cougar, man, because it's going to play with you like a ball of yarn.
Go, back it up, Jamie,
Yeah.
because before that, you actually see them duking it out before the mountain lion wins. A friend of mine is a guide. He's a hunting guide in Colorado. Look at this battle. That mountain lion just clamps him down on his neck. That wolf's trying, but it ain't working out, dude. That mountain lion ain't letting go. Fuck.
Did you see that video of the panther? The lady caught on video running
Yeah,
by
the
her in
panther
Florida?
ran by him.
Holy shit, that was
Ran by
scary.
her, yeah. It's in Florida.
I was hiking on Antelope Island one time, and just north of Utah, and they have this big buffalo reserve out there. It's like a public peak, probably 6,000, day hike, and but there's all these free-ranging buffalo everywhere on the island,
Wow.
And so we're coming back down the hill, me and my buddy, and as we're hiking down the trail, about 300 yards down, I can see there's a couple buffalo right on the trail on the footpath, and we're like, well, that's all right. They'll be moved on by the time we get there. And we come down the hill, come around this big boulder, and sure shit, they're still standing there, man. And my uncle had a farm. He had cows. I've never been around a damn buffalo. I don't know the difference. And so I'm like, well, they'll move. It's just a big ass cow, So we just keep walking towards them. And my buddy, he jumps up on a rock and he's just laughing at me like a dumbass because I'm standing there at this point. And this thing's 15 feet in front of me.
Oh my God.
And it was grazing like sideways with his hip towards me. And he's just eating, and finally he looks up and turns his head and looked at me, man. And I realized, holy shit! I mean, it's like the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, man.
Oh my God.
And he's just looking at me, and I'm thinking, this is some dumb shit right here. Like, what am I doing? What do I do? And
That's a different buffalo, buddy. That's a water buffalo. That's an
this
Asian
is like this
animal.
old school.
A bison.
There you go, top left. This is a bison. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a water
And he
buffalo.
just turns and looks at me, and I'm like, oh, I'm so fucked. And I didn't know
Look
what
at
else
the
to do, so I
size of
just
that thing.
took one more step forward.
You did towards him?
Yeah, I didn't know what else to do, man, because
Dude,
he's
that's a
looking right
gangster
at me. We're
move.
making, I just kind of I didn't know, like he's going to charge me. I'm either
Yeah.
running or what. So I took one more step, and he just kind of off, and him and his buddy ran. But when he started running, man, like the whole ground shook.
Oh.
And I remember standing there looking at my friend, thinking like that could have been really bad.
Oh yeah, you could be
Like-
dead. No Sturgill
But
Simpson.
it's open to the public. You can hike out
Yeah.
there all the time. There's buffalo everywhere. So
Yeah.
how's that a winning combination?
I like it. I do. I like it way better than I like the idea of a zoo.
Enter nature at your own risk.
I think you should enter nature at your own risk, and I think nature should be natural.
So you're a big bow hunter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'd started to talk about this at dinner, but like moose are mean as shit.
Yeah.
If you shoot an arrow in an elk's ass and it doesn't kill it, you just piss it off, and now you're 40 yards away from this thing. What do you do?
Well, most importantly, you got to practice. Like before, especially if you're going to shoot an arrow, I practice every day.
Really?
Every day. Every day I go somewhere and I shoot arrows.
It's something you should probably take seriously.
You got to take it it's not like a rifle thing.
No.
See, a rifle thing it's all just about understanding how to use a scope and understanding trigger discipline. You got to understand how to squeeze a trigger and not pull it. But archery involves a lot of weird hand-eye coordination and balance. There's so many different factors going on. There's like a little sight that you have, and you have to balance that sight out where the bubble is in the center, the level bubble.
Right.
You got to make sure you're not torquing your bow left or right. You got to make sure that the peep sight, the little string hole that you're looking through, lines up and eclipses perfectly your housing. You have to make sure that your hand is completely steady. You got to make sure you don't flinch at all when you release the arrow. There's so much going on. Any micro movement can add up to several feet left or right when it gets down past like 40 and 50
All the
yards.
while trying to control your intended, target on this moving creature.
Yeah, moving creature, and you have to be good enough to make an ethical shot.
Right.
You have to be good enough to, and it's not easy, man. It's not fucking easy. So that's the most important thing. It's like there's a lot of guys that shouldn't be doing it because they're doing it and they make.
I was going to say all that said, when shit goes wrong, then what do you do?
Well, you have to have a plan. All right, if you shoot an animal and it charges out, you got to have a tree near you or something where you can get behind the tree.
Right.
But you got to assume that if you hit an animal with an arrow, the last thing it wants to do is charge you, unless it's a predator. Predators might charge you. Like there's a real possibility that if you hit a bear, although I know people that have hit a moose. My friend Ranella got run over by a moose. He shot it with a rifle and went to move in for the final shot, and the thing was much better shape than he thought it was.
Right.
And it got up and charged him and knocked him over. Yeah, and I've seen another guy who shot a moose with a bow, and the moose charged him. But most of the time, they want to get the fuck away from you. Mm-hmm. But again, it's not safe. It's not supposed to be, but it's real. I mean, if you are hunting an elk and you kill an elk with a bow and arrow, you fucking killed an elk with a bow and arrow. It is real. It is 100% real. That is a real elk. It's a wild fucking animal. It doesn't have any rule book. There's no act. There's no act break. There's no commercial time. That's a real 1,000-pound wild horse with a tree grown out of its fucking head. And it's horny. It's screaming. This thing that's 10 times bigger than you is running up a hill with a tree growing out of its head.
And now you got to carry it out of there.
Yeah, well, you got to cut it up. Well, the elk that I shot, luckily, we were close enough to get a truck nearby. But I know guys that have had to camp them out, pack them out.
Yeah, because, and then the smell and everything, you're drawing predators at night if you have to do
bears. You got to be real careful with bears. But wolves, too. I have a friend of mine who's going to be on next week, this guy John Dudley. He was in Alberta, and they shot an elk, and they got surrounded by wolves. The wolves were trying to take the elk. He said it was fucked. They killed 2 wolves. They got charged by wolves. Yeah, it got real weird, man. And he said, and once they had killed 2, this alpha hung around the edge of this ridge and looked down at them and just decided enough was enough and just went ghost. And they all disappeared, the entire pack. But they were around him howling. He said he could hear 12 distinctly different howls around them, and they have an elk on the ground. Yeah. And people say, oh, he killed a wolf. That guy's an asshole. They kill a lot of wolves up there, folks. And you might think that's a terrible idea and that's horrible, and it is if you don't live there. But if you live there, fuck, they have to. You don't understand. Everybody has this idea, and I talk about this way too much, so I'll stop. But everybody has this idea of predators, that they're like some character in a movie that knows the script. They don't, man. You have to control their fucking populations. They just found 19 dead elk that these wolves killed in Wyoming. They just left them there. They just went on a slaughter fest. They snuck into this pack of, some of those elk packs in Wyoming, you'll get 100 elk. It's immense. These huge packs of elk. What would you call them? A herd of elk? And so this wolf pack jumped in there. Look at all the elk they killed. 19 elk, and they didn't eat any of them. They just killed them. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, unless you live there, it's hard to have an opinion one way or another. I
Well,
guess.
everybody that has an opinion, it's all. I mean, people that have unrealistic opinions about wolves, it's all coming from a beautiful place. It's coming from a place of love.
Right.
They love animals.
But they do breed like dogs, and
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they have litters, man.
Nothing's hunting them. So.
Yeah, people are like only the alphas get to breed. You better fucking read up on history, natural history. That's not true. They all fuck. Dogs fuck like crazy. The alphas control most of the breeding. Yeah, but it doesn't mean the other ones don't fuck. There's a lot of wolves. They just did some recent survey on wolves in I believe it was Idaho, and they were talking about how many of them there are. They're like, whoa, like this is kind of they're far beyond where they thought that they needed to be before they would put them back on the hunting list. But they don't ever want to put them on. It's like what happens is they reintroduced them in the 90s. And before that, they were pretty much wiped out by cattle ranchers and all these people throughout the West. There's very few like wild wolves in North America. And so they reintroduced these wolves from Canada that happen to be larger, by the way. They're larger wolves than the wolves that were naturally here.
What did the Native Americans do about the wolf population back in the day?
Well, they killed them, certainly, because they used to use their skins to sneak up on bison, actually.
Right.
There's a crazy fucking famous painting, an iconic painting of these American
cow.
Indians with a wolf costume on. Like they have it covering their body, and they're crawling with a bow and arrow up to these bison. Because bison weren't scared of wolves.
That's
They'd be like,
pretty
bitch,
hardcore.
fucking kick you in your head. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
Yeah, bisons don't. That's one of the reasons why there were so many of them. No other animals really had a very difficult time taking them out. Look at this. There's the picture. That's like an iconic.
Yeah, that's exactly how that one looked at me right there.
Fuck.
On the left. I was just like,
That's got to be bone chilling. What did that feel like, staring that thing down?
man, I froze. I literally froze because I didn't know what to do.
Could be the end of your
That was
life.
the thing. You're standing there, like, and I realized I've just put myself in a horrendously bad situation.
The amount of force they could generate, you can't even resist it. There's nothing you could do. You're just completely helpless. Like, there's literally nothing you could do. They run faster than you,
Yeah.
and they're, that's a 1,500, 2,000-pound animal. Fuck. And the Indians snuck up on him like that. And my friend Remy Warren, he has this television show called Apex Predator. And they did all these different episodes on the ways different animals hunt their prey and see if he could recreate it. And that's one of the things he did. He took a wolf skin and put it on him and crawled up to these buffalo and got like right inside them. Yeah.
But they're afraid of us.
Well, they're afraid of people because of
Yeah,
our
we'll
bang
shoot 'em.
sticks.
Yeah,
you know?
right. True that.
I was saying earlier, I forgot what I was talking about for a second, but a friend of mine is a guide in Colorado, and they found these mountain lion tracks, like all these mountain lion tracks, and then elk tracks, and then the mountain lion tracks and the elk tracks together, and then there's a space of like several hundred yards where there was just elk tracks. And so they followed that elk track, and they found a mountain lion on top of the elk killing it. This fucking giant elk, like 1,000-pound elk. He said it was a huge 6x6. So you're talking about a mature animal. And this mountain lion was like, fuck it, I'm going for it. And he jumped on this thing and clamped a hold of its back and then brought it down. The mountain lion weighed 150 pounds.
Right.
So it took out this 1,000-plus pound elk
yeah.
by jumping on its back and biting its neck.
You guys get them down in the valley?
Mountain lions? Yeah.
Out here encroaching. I guess they
Killed a
have to.
koala bear at the zoo the other day. Yeah.
Now we're taking it seriously.
Yeah, man. Well, they're like, how the fuck did it get in? It's got a 12-foot high fence. There's razor wire on the top.
It's a 150-pound sneaky ass cat, man. Come on. It saw that little fucking Ewok, and it was like,
I know, but
it found a way.
It climbed over barbed wire.
That's hardcore, dude.
That's hard as fucking core gets.
I'm
12-foot high fence, barbed wire on the top. It's like, good try.
I got this.
Good try. He probably got cut up a bit. But whatever. He's a mountain lion. They probably heal like that. It's an
Think
enormous
about
cat.
that though, man. 150-pound cat.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're riding your bike one day, one of those things falls out of a tree on your head. It's gonna grab your neck with these big old saber teeth and like take you to the ground and fucking play with you for a while. It's not just gonna kill you, you know what I mean? It's gonna mess with your
Look at the size
shit.
of that fucker. That's the one that lives up in the Hollywood Hills. That's the one that they think killed the koala bear. That's a lion.
That's a lion, dude.
I mean, that's like a lion in Africa lion. Look at the fucking forearms on that goddamn thing. Like those front forearms are insane.
That would be awful.
That's an insane amount of power that thing must have. And they say that pound for pound, they're one of the strongest cats.
Yeah. I mean, look at its. Yeah, I mean, his shoulders and arms. My God.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, if a bobcat tries to fuck with me, I'll fuck up a bobcat. I'm pretty confident. I'll kick a bobcat's ass.
I bet it still wouldn't be fun.
No, I'm kidding, man. Look, I have cats, and I have to wash them. And my daughter's allergic to cats, and the only way we can mitigate it is we have to shave them, so they get a buzz cut, like a lion's cut, and wash them. And it makes a giant difference in how much dander they leave, because they're both like really fluffy cats. So they would leave cat hair everywhere. But so this solution made a bit. But I have to fucking hold on to these little fuckers while they get shaved. And man, even though like they love me and they, you know, when they want to go, man, they want to go, and you realize like how difficult they are to control. This little,
Agile.
yeah, they move, they twist and contort, and they're kicking off you, and woo.
These big, long, sinewy, relaxed muscles that all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, you're actually a little bodybuilder. Okay.
We're just so lucky. We're so much bigger than them. But with a mountain lion,
My wife
you're
wants
not.
to get a cat.
There's a bobcat.
I'm there.
I'm gonna come get some bobcat. I'll fuck you up, bitch. No, it'd probably be terrifying. Oh, that was a cute one. That's a lynx, though. I don't think that's a bobcat. Those you ever see those weird lynxes they have in Canada? Those white
I've never
ones?
been to Canada, man. No, actually, that's not true. I've been to Canada. I've just never been up to the part of Canada that I'd really like to see.
They have these weird cats, man. They don't even look real. They look like a Star Wars cat. It's called a lynx.
Lynx.
And they have these crazy big paws with fur all. There he is. Look at that.
The
Look at
weird
that thing.
ears, yeah.
Come
yeah.
on, man. That's like a
Whoa,
Narnia
dude.
animal.
Go some Turkish delight.
Yeah, look at that. That doesn't even look real. Look at that cat. Tell me
Wow.
that looks real. That looks like something from some weird movie. Like their proportions. Like go back to
Like a
that last
chupacabra
picture,
or something.
Jamie. Look at the proportions of its body. It's so odd. Giant feet, long ass big legs. Just a weird body, man. And that thing is just up there earning. Just out there hustling every day, jacking
what's
shit
it
with its
getting?
face.
Like, what does it hunt in Canada, I guess?
Everything. I'm sure small things. I don't think they get that big. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say a lynx probably only gets to be like 50 pounds. See how big they get. See if I'm right. I don't think they get much bigger than that. But I think they probably eat 24 pounds. Okay. I think they probably eat like rabbits and squirrels and shit. Or fawns. They'll definitely eat fawns. We found this fucked up video of this marten. A marten chasing a rabbit. You know what a marten is?
No. What is that?
Play it for him, Jamie.
Marten?
A marten is an animal that I always associated with fur because of those Alaska shows. You know those shows where the dudes are living up in Alaska? There's one called Mountain Men, and this guy runs a fur trap line, and one of the things that he traps is marten. Well, that's a marten. It's like a little badger, and it's chasing after a rabbit. So the little black thing in the back is the marten. And this is literally a run for life. Look at this rabbit. It's going, fuck, and the marten's hustling behind him.
The thing is moving. Man.
Fuck yeah, it is. And this is like a crazy sprint. I mean, they're both sprinting. It's like, how long can they do it for? And the marten just is relentless. And these people are filming this from their fucking car, following them behind them on the road. And the marten just finally, the rabbit starts trying to veer off the road, and he gets into this thick shit. And the marten closes the distance. But look at the drama here.
So it runs better on the
Boom, bitch.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. And here what's crazy is they're the same size. In fact, the marten is smaller than the rabbit. Look at the difference.
That thing's mean as shit.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, he just carried it up by its face. That's
But
like
when they
you
got on
jumping
the
on a
packed snow,
dude.
he's like he hit a nitro button or something.
Well, he knew the end was near.
That was cool.
Yeah. But
Crazy.
imagine if
We
you
went down the rabbit hole on this.
fought with a dude to the death with your faces, right?
I'm good.
You killed him with your face and then dragged him up a hill with your face, all in the course of 15 seconds. From the time that Martin got a hold of that rabbit is dead as fuck, and he was carrying it away in 15 seconds. With his face.
No, one of my good buddies is a radiology technician, and he sees all kinds of horrible shit happen to people like every day. You know what I mean? That's why I'm thankful. I just have to get up and try to sing and pitch to make money. He said the worst thing he ever told me was there was a guy who was driving along on his way to work one morning, hit a deer. Like the body split in half. And the ass end of the deer came up over the hood and through his windshield. And it was just intestines and blood and shit and guts everywhere.
God.
All over, like the glass from the windshield cut his face all up. So now he's got all this shit down in the blood and in his face. So they bring this guy. And so he came in and went through the windshield and laid down in this creek bed. Like after he hit the deer and it laid there. And while he's like laying in the damn creek bed, raccoons came and snacked on his fucking face. So then the guy ended up living, but I mean, between all the bacterial...
So he got jacked.
Yeah, hit a deer, all that shit happened, and I guess he like came out of the truck and then laid down in this ditch until they found him like, however many hours later, and while he was laying there unconscious, wild woodland creatures had came and eaten the open... Yeah, dude had a bad day, man.
God. Jesus. How much of his face got bitten off?
Man, Patrick said it was not pretty.
Holy fuck, man.
And the donor, he actually lived.
Oh, my God.
I don't know that I'd want to survive, something like that. Or maybe you do. You always want to survive, but...
Yeah, you always want to survive. You just want to survive just to kill as many fucking raccoons as you can.
You'd be like the best raccoon hunter ever from that day on.
You'd be like a raccoon serial killer, just standing in front of trash cans with a rifle.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to work at a hospital.
Oh, dude. I have a buddy who was an EMT. He used to tell me some stories. The craziest stories, my friend Steve, he's an ophthalmologist, and he did his residency in Miami during the cocaine days. And he's
well played.
He's like, dude, you don't even fucking know. And to this day, this guy, Steve, is strapped everywhere he goes.
Really?
Yeah, he wears a fucking gun everywhere. He doesn't play games. He lives in Arizona, and one of the reasons why he likes Arizona is because he can conceal carry. He's just seen too much. He saw too much early on. He told me every day was just gunshot to the head, gunshot to the head, gunshot to the head. Like you're in the
How are you going to maintain any kind of positive outlook?
You can't.
Or not just get completely burnt out.
You get out of it, and he got out of it. When he got out of it, it was just like this big breath, like, whoa, what the fuck did I just experience? But now the knowledge that not only was that a real thing that he was experiencing on a daily basis, all that insane violence and all that, the gunshots and all the craziness, he knows that even if it's not like that anymore, like even if the cocaine days are kind of over, Miami's much more calm, the violence is not as bad, he knows that that is what people are capable of within his lifetime.
I'm sure you still see that shit all the time.
I bet you do, but I think there was a level of it during the 80s in Miami. Do you know who Billy Corbin is, the documentary filmmaker?
Name's familiar.
He's got these two great documentaries called Cocaine Cowboys and Cocaine Cowboys 2.
Okay. Yeah.
And Billy, he's been on the podcast before talking about it, but he did a great job of showing how insane that time was. Which one of the things that he talked about was how 1 year, the graduating class of the police academy, every single one of them within like a year was either dead or in jail. They'd been murdered or they were in jail for corruption. Like the whole police department was just massively corrupt. Everyone was doing cocaine. There was murders like crazy, all left and right and all around. It was just complete chaos.
Yeah, what's one of the guys' names from the documentary? The white dude with the mustache that was kind of like a ringleader of it all. I think he went to prison and he's out now.
Yeah. The guy who flew the planes would bury the money in the yards. I don't remember his name either. But I remember the lady, Griselda.
Griselda, the godmother.
Oh, that lady, I think she's still alive, man. I mean, she might have died recently, but I think she was alive and free in Colombia.
Yeah, she's living in South America for a long time and hiding.
Yeah, she got out of jail in America, and you know, if her hitman who's in jail, who's in the documentary, is being honest about how many people she killed, like, whoa, Jack, she alive?
She died in 2012.
There you go. So when the second movie was made, they focused on her and her being released. And, oh my God, what a crazy time! So my friend Steve, he just saw all that, man. He saw a guy with a light bulb up his ass.
For what?
Someone stuffed a light bulb up their ass. You know one of those twisty light bulbs, the like the Christmas tree looking light bulbs.
Yeah.
They no, I'm not a
I still
Christmas
think I'll
light
stick
bulb.
this up my ass.
A big ass one. You know, I mean, I say it looks like a Christmas tree. I don't mean like a little one that's on your tree.
Right.
I'm talking about a several inch long light bulb was stuffed up this dude's ass.
People get bored, man.
Yeah, they found everything: wine, champagne corks, all sorts of different objects, like coffee cups and stuff. Yeah.
Never heard any stories like that from my buddy.
I guess it's also probably correlates with the cocaine days. They're probably just sticking things in every hole they had.
I don't know, man. Hats off to anybody that can work.
A coffee can in your ass?
Well, that, it's probably just seeing all that stuff, like the different layers of society you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and out, and having to hold any type of firm belief in humanity or civilization. I don't know. I would wear a person, I think.
Even people that don't see violence, like people maybe that see just a lot of accidents.
Yeah.
It's got to be spooky. They say that a lot of women who are like EMTs have a hard time settling down and like having families. Like they get whacked out by it, like particularly. That might be sexist to say. I don't think it is. Because I think that's something that I've heard female EMTs talk about, just their own personal experiences, but that it's so dark. Like every day you're just seeing broken necks and broken legs and car accidents and people splattered on the road, and just grueling after a while.
So what's like PTSD numbers like in a profession like that? I mean, you got to be having some trauma.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a certain amount of stress that I think comes with any kind of job where you're looking at death a lot. Yep. I mean, how much PTSD does a doctor have? Like emergency room doctors, how much do they just get accustomed to it?
I think it takes a very special type of personality.
I think it also does, man. I think it's really a lot like what we were talking about when you're taking in all these stories in the world, because you can manage your own life,
right?
But if you're paying attention to the news, you're going to get inundated with stories
all
by the
long.
7 billion people, and it's just too much. There's just too much data coming at you, and too much of it is negative. I think that's probably the same way with like an emergency room doctor. Like it's okay if you see somebody get hurt once in your life, a few times in your life, or maybe even like you can get desensitized.
They're not processing it because it's on to the next case.
You can definitely get desensitized. It doesn't freak you out anymore. See a guy whose leg is hanging off, I mean, especially guys who are taking care of troops,
oh Lord,
EMTs,
combat medics.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
While people are shooting at you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You're trying to carry them out while bullets are. It's insanity.
Again, I just try to sing in key, man.
I know.
I'm very grateful.
Got it easy. We got it easy. It's just fascinating how many different ways to be a person there are. How many different kind of lives you can live.
Yep.
How many different types of experiences you can have. And your reality could be so much different than somebody else's reality. And you're convinced that your reality is life. And they're convinced that theirs is life. Like what we're talking about with the wolves. Like those people that live near those things that are fucking shit in their pants when they hear those howls at night. My buddy lives in BC, and his neighbor's cow was taken out by wolves while they were all watching. They're all looking out the window. They heard...
What are you going to do?
Can't do shit. You can go out and start shooting.
Wait for it to get full and fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go out and start shooting, but it's dark. Unless
That's
you have
pretty
a night
country,
vision
man.
scope.
I could live up there, but
Yeah.
the winters I think would just be. That's the thing.
They're ruthless. But anywhere it's too nice, you get too many people.
Right.
It's like we were talking about L.A.
Los Angeles.
It's too perfect. Every day the weather's perfect. But because of that, you have to breathe carbon monoxide air.
I was telling you yesterday was the first time I'd ever. Cause at some point I think my family was ready for an adventure or a relocation. But yeah, I don't know that I could ever acclimate, no matter how long I was here, to convincing myself that the traffic is
Worth it?
worth it.
You don't have to live here. See, that's the beautiful thing about Southern California is you could live in like San Diego, like La Jolla, which is beautiful and quiet and fucking picturesque. You see the ocean, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's so pretty.
I like the northern part of the state a lot too.
Northern part of the state is amazing. I was in Mendocino, over by where the ocean is. It's like 3 hours plus, maybe 4 hours north of San Francisco. Oh, it's so pretty, man. The redwood forest. We went through the redwood forest and did all that shit. God, it's so pretty.
I went to Monterey once for a meeting with my booking agency. The people who live there got it pretty well. That does not suck. And some friends in San Luis Obispo. That's really beautiful.
That's a nice spot too. And those places are calm.
Right, really mellow. You can tell.
Real mellow. My buddy John lives in San Luis Obispo.
If I was about 15 years younger, LA would seem like a good idea.
Right.
But now,
Santa Barbara's real nice too.
Really?
Man. Love it there. I've got a gig there on Friday night. Santa Barbara's like, I don't think it's more than 100,000 plus people.
Still that small?
I don't think it's very big, man.
The Shooter loves it out here. He's lived out here a while.
Well, he's crazy.
Yeah.
Shooter lives in the heart of darkness.
He's
in Los Feliz. He has an
wow.
apartment in Los Feliz. He's a crazy man. He's like, he loves it. Shooter's such a character, man.
Dude.
I love that guy.
Sweetest guy on the planet.
Oh, he's the best. He's also just like such a character, like who he is as a person. We had him in here and he was talking about doing meth. He's like, oh yeah, I've done meth. It ain't shit. That's the way he talks about it. like, come on, man, you ain't done meth.
Oh, you never tried crank, bro?
Yeah, that trucker crank. But he's a talented guy too, and I also like that. You could listen to any one of his albums, and it's like, oh, okay, he's obviously in some totally different phase.
Yeah.
In this album, he's just trying some other shit out.
He's one of the more naturally and genuinely curious and interested people. Like when he's listening to you and asking questions, he actually means it.
Oh yeah.
That's
incredible.
a rare thing in the music business.
And coming from the son of royalty,
right?
His dad was royalty. There's a few musical icons that you look at and you go, well, that's like in the Royal 100, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Waylon Jennings is in the fucking Royal 100. There's just people that are in, Chuck Berry's in, you know what I'm saying? He's in forever. Waylon Jennings is in. He's in. That's his son. So for him to be so normal and also be a musician and not be some weirdo who fucking desperately craves attention or needs validation. He's a genuine artist and very content.
If anything, I've seen him use his position to only try to help other people instead of himself, and that's the truth.
Man. Well, his mom was obviously so nice too.
Oh yeah,
did it with his mom.
Total sweetheart.
She's so nice, and really like sharp and smart.
Oh yeah,
cool to talk
She's
to.
paying attention.
Oh yeah, man, just cool to talk to. It's the weird business, man. Everyone out there, everyone I think that's everyone that's not like some sort of a perfect person is trying to do better with their life. You're trying to improve on whatever you're doing, whether it's your job or your business or whatever your hobby is or your obsession. We're all trying to improve on it. But one of the weird things about being a musician, and I guess a comic as well, is that you're doing that in front of everybody. Like we're all developing as humans, but you're performing in front of all those people.
Yeah, it is when you write songs, I guess you can't ever stop to think, oh, I have to sing this the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
Well,
Because you'll never write any songs. It's
you could have The Crown. You don't like that song.
Well, like for me, I don't know. I like the song. It's just,
Dude,
but a lot of people really like that song.
Song's badass. I play that song at the gym almost every time I work out. That's a badass song. You're just too close to it.
I'm too close to it. Well, yeah, it was a laundry list about my view on laundry lists experience. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's
just such a great song, though, man.
Yeah, we'll dig that one back out. It's time to work it up, I think, in a new way, make it fresh for us. I don't know. For me, man, I love the recording process most of all.
Really?
Because that's where you learn if you've improved. You know, you're under a microscope. I get like hyper focused in the studio. It's a good thing other people get tired, or I'd probably just keep them in there all day. You know what I mean? And then, but it's almost like you're so tied to this thing and in it that by the time it's finished, you just don't even want to think about it anymore. It's like, all right, well, that's done.
Right.
You know, but now you got to work it up and go out in a live context and play this thing. Whereas hopefully you've tried to bare your soul and be as honest as possible, but then you're standing in front of a room every night, so you have to block that part of it out of your head that like people are judging you. Right. You know, and that's also part of it too. You know, you're living that life experience out in real time. So it's all been really educational and new for me in terms of figuring out how to navigate that in as artistic a way as possible without compromising anything, I guess.
I think we all learn from each other in that way, you know.
Because it's got to sell.
Yeah.
Or you don't get to do it anymore. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Do you learn from other musicians in that way? Do you see like how other guys are handling it, or how they how it influences their creative process? Does it influence you?
I mean, you definitely notice traits in other people that you wish you had more of, or that you could maybe adhere to, and it's motivating. But like you said, you know, it's just about trying to be a better person. Yeah. And use whatever outlet this is in order, hopefully, to make other people feel good too, or to deal with things that maybe they don't know how to express. Which for me, I think, is the most important part of making music. That's what it's always given me in the past before I was a performer, and I just loved it from a sheer listener's position. You know, it offers us a lot of comfort, and I don't know. And people tell you this after the shows, that you're making an impact on their life. And you know, my buddy Jordo said that his friend, her grandmother's like laying in her hospital bed, and the last thing she heard, she played her one of my songs, like, you know, that song, My Voice. She just said, wow, he's got a really pretty voice. And she was like totally relaxed, you know. So you hear things like that, and it's easy to get hung up on mechanics or expectations or pressures or the industry and all that. But like, it feels like if you just kind of step back and hit pause, it's easy to remember that anybody doing this job is very lucky to be able to do this job. And for me, like, I think in a lot of ways the modern media and industry has sort of not ruined music, but it's made it really hard for people to focus on what it's really about. You know, it's like life is all of a sudden one big episode of The Voice, and it's all about the year-end lists and who says this is better than what, and saying somebody's art is better than somebody's art. And I just don't think that that's ever like a healthy thing, if that makes sense. Making a competition out of something that's supposed to make everybody feel included.
Well, it's definitely contrary to what seems to be your primary focus, which is making the best music for your expression. Expressing yourself in the best way you can, and making something that's going to impact people in a way where your thoughts are going to get across. They're going to be moved by it. You can't do that if you're thinking about winning awards. It's contrary.
Or selling lots of records.
Or selling, or any of those things, like promoting it, business. You know, like anytime you
not to say that it's impossible. I mean,
it's hard, right.
It's hard, but like some people do sell a lot of records impacting people's lives with great music. It's out there.
Well, great music sells.
Yeah, period. It always finds a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to sell whether you're, but like, did you see Amy Winehouse?
Oh, yeah,
the documentary?
Yeah. Her records, that's why I hired the Dap Kings for this new one, man. Just the sound of what they did on those albums.
Amazing. She's such a good
genius.
musician.
Yeah.
She was so, like, her sound, what she put together was so, but to see how the intense pressure of being, Amy Winehouse, in quotes. I mean, she was
or Justin
iconic.
Bieber or anybody else
anybody
who's
like that.
surrounded by enablers and kept copacetic all the time and just yes,
You got to do other things, man. You got to be grounded, and I think...
Since you got to go home and roll around and play with blocks.
Yep.
That's what you got to do.
Yep. I like to get in the pool with them. They surf on my back. I go underwater and swim, and they try to stand on me. It's hard to hold your breath for as long as it takes for a 5-year-old to stand on your back as you're floating. But I mean, other things as well, like as far as not just family and loved ones and friends, which are definitely important, but I also think that other disciplines are important, other focuses, other things you're equally interested in, because they alleviate some of the pressure of what it is to be singularly focused on one thing, which we can get to the point of madness.
And it does.
Yeah.
I got a drum kit. I got really into playing drums about 6 months ago. It's meditational, man. You have to relax to do it well, and then you're not thinking about anything else. And once I realized that, I was like, oh, this is really good for me. And but yeah, that's my thing. This music thing, once it becomes a career, you have to be singularly focused, especially when thinking about a record, man. My wife, she just kind of leaves me alone. Once she sees me go to that weird that processing place, you know what I mean? Because it's like it's like nothing else is in the room anyway for a while, and then I'm done, and you just feel like, whew, okay, and then you don't write a song for a year.
Well, she seems very smart and supportive.
Oh,
she can recognize that.
Yeah.
That's so important. I have friends that are in relationships where the wife is not very supportive and resists the creative process and gives them and doesn't understand it or care.
My wife's very creative too, so she understands. She's very independent, so it's being an only child. She knows, like, there's just sometimes where I have to go and be in my own little space.
I just don't think you get to what you're doing right now. I don't think you get to that state unless you're a little crazy. You have to be. You got to be locked into it, man. I like. By the way, I'm so sorry I leaked the name of your album out.
I love it. I loved it. I really did.
I leaked it out on Instagram, but it was fucking good, man. I was in the gym, and I said, God damn, people got to hear about this. I was so high. I was in Colorado, and when you get high in Colorado, when you're at 8,000 feet, or is Utah actually 8,000 feet, it just hits you in some crazy. You feel like you're on a spaceship, like on top of the world. Like like I was feeling like I was connected to the world in some really weird way. And I was at the gym, I just barbecued, and that album was so good. It was so good, especially in that moment at the gym, endorphins flowing. And then you sent me a text, hey man, I think you leaked the name of my album. I went, oh no, I didn't even think of that.
Man, honestly, at this point, it's this is definitely a record that anybody that knows about me, I would like them to hear as a record, because that's how I recorded it to be heard.
Well, that's one of the interesting aspects of it.
Yeah,
it's obviously one piece. Yeah. Well, you sent me 2 versions of it. It was kind of cool too. Or the people did. They sent me one version, which is just one recording, and then the other one is side 2. And then another one where all the songs were broken down individually. But it almost feels like I shouldn't be looking at that,
I mean, ideally, I would. That's not how It wasn't designed to be heard broken apart, I guess.
But people like to hear like one song if they're in the car for 10 minutes on the way home. They like to hear one song. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, well,
right?
I mean, all of my favorite records, like of my top 4 or 5 records, are all concept records. And a lot of them are in song cycle, which is what they call it, like Dark Side of the Moon, where it's just one continuous flow.
Or The Wall.
Or The Wall, or What's Going On by Marvin Gaye.
Oh, yeah. What's Going On was one concept?
Yeah, that was all in song cycle. It was written from the narrative of a Vietnam vet returning home to like an inner city home and trying to adapt to society again. It's a heavy album, man. And then Astral Weeks by Van Morrison. If you never heard that record, that's some powerful dope.
No, I haven't.
It's all about the journey of a soul's life.
Whoa. I never got into Van Morrison other than Moondance.
Genius.
Moondance, one of my favorite songs ever. I always wonder.
Well, that's what he called his commercial album, because Astral Weeks, although it's like now considered probably one of the greatest records ever recorded, it didn't sell very well because it was too artsy for a lot of people. So then he turned around and intentionally made a more commercially accessible album, which was Moondance, and of course sold a gazillion copies.
Whenever I think about Marvin Gaye, I think about this chick that I used to date. Because when Marvin Gaye got shot and killed by his dad.
Here in L.A., right?
I don't know where
I think it was in Los Angeles.
It's
a tragic story, man.
He got shot and killed by his own father.
Yeah.
The girl I was dating goes, what kind of a horrible person must he have been that his dad shot him? I went, what? That's not how it works. But that was how she viewed the world. Like, if your father shot you, you must have been a horrible person, so fuck him.
He's probably my favorite musician of all time, so I know more about Marvin Gaye than we want to go into here.
Really?
But yeah, it's a really dark story.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like how so?
He's there was a lot of that. Him and his dad had things that stemmed from childhood. I think his dad was a preacher, but also a cross-dresser.
Oh.
And so Marvin, I think, was ridiculed a lot and caught a lot of shame for that. And his dad was very strict, authoritarian, really tyrannical, rule in the house, and beat his mom a lot.
Oh, man.
So a lot of Marvin's sexual deviancy later on, they think, probably stemmed from some of that. But I mean, he was just a really highly sensitive guy and a genius that I don't know.
What kind of sexual deviancy was he involved in?
Well,
I never heard
I don't
that.
know, like air the guy's dirty laundry, but there's books about it. He was like S&M bondage. I think he had a pretty substantial porn collection, and
okay.
like to talk his 17-year-old girlfriends and orgies and threesomes and that kind of thing.
That was legal back then.
Yeah, he was just living, bro. You know, he got on the yayo, and it went from there. But I think after the height of his fame, and even his best-selling record, he was married to the daughter of the president of Motown, or sister, or one or the other, and she divorced him basically and took everything, like the whole fortune, and he ended up smoking crack in a bread truck in Hawaii.
No.
And he, I mean, this is after he's Marvin fucking Gaye. You know what I mean?
No way.
Yeah. And then just went down from hill from there. Nobody could get to him or help him out, so he had to move back in with his parents.
What?
As a grown-ass man, and while he's Marvin fucking Gaye. And then they think, a lot of people say that's where the source of all the trauma and pain, him going back to that at that stage in his life, was the worst thing that could have happened.
And being around his dad again.
Being around his dad. Apparently they had an argument, and he told his dad, like, if he ever touched his mom again, he'd kill him. And his dad said, well, if you ever lay a hand on me, I'll kill you. And I think some people speculate that Marvin was just so done with all of it, the fame and everything, that he knew by punching his father, it would get him out of it.
Whoa.
His dad shot him twice upstairs in the bedroom.
Oh, my God.
And then I think he laid there for about 20 minutes bleeding. And then once the ambulance showed up, the paramedics couldn't come in the house as long as the dad was still in there with the gun. So I think his sister-in-law or brother, somebody had come in and like find the gun that his father had hidden because he wasn't talking.
Oh, my God.
And it took him. So by the time they got him out of the house, Marvin died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital.
Oof. That's heavy, man. Fuck. What a crazy story.
Really sad.
It is a terrible story. It's you always when you hear about a guy that like has this it's almost like overwhelming desire to express himself, you know? Like when you have a song like What's Going On, or if you have a song like Let's Get It On, you know?
Devastating.
Come on. I mean, there's some intense memory, like his emotional connection to what he's doing is just so off the charts. And a lot of times that's almost like energized by dark moments in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Dark memories. It overwhelms those even the positive things.
You show me a happy, well-adjusted artist, and I'll show you some boring fucking art, bro.
Yeah, let's get it on. What's this shit, dude?
If
you got a girl that likes let's get it on, you got a good one.
I think she was 17 when he wrote that album for her. It was
Really?
all about his little young mistress.
Ooh, Jesus, that's dark.
Telling her how much he wanted to do the deed.
Oof.
Whole record.
17 is so
I
good.
think there's a song called "You Really Love to Ball" on the end of that album.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just like women moaning and orgasm, and
Really?
guy was fearless, man. Didn't give a shit.
Well, he's just getting away with it too. At that time, he's probably selling so many records. They're like, go ahead,
Oh
Marvin.
yeah,
Marvin,
millions
run with it.
and millions. And didn't tour. He never toured.
Really?
Yeah, hardly ever. They couldn't drag him out on a stage.
No shit. Really?
I think when Let's Get It On was blowing up, he was living in a cabin up in top of Topanga Canyon with his girlfriend and just hiding from the world doing blow. Wow. Literally. He played one concert that entire record cycle.
That's where everybody lived back then. I saw Hendrix house was for sale a few years back. There's a house that Hendrix bought, but he never moved into. He bought it right before he died. I'll take it. Even if he didn't live there, I'm like, I'll still buy it. I need to know.
Oh man.
If he did he write something anywhere?
Mhm.
Was it in paper that this? Did he walk in?
If he was there,
walked
he
around,
probably
he
wrote
liked
something.
it. He must have bought it, so he had to look at it. So if he
Yeah.
looked at it, he was in there. So he walked around. I'll take it.
He probably boned the realtor. I'll take it.
Well, there was a house that was for sale that was Wilt Chamberlain's house that had the whole deal. It had a circular bed that spun around. It was like the ultimate fuck castle. And, it was Wilt Chamberlain on his way to banging 10,000 different women, allegedly, according to him. And he had just this insane bachelor pad that was just...
How did he get anything else done?
Look at it. Like, that's his house. Look at that bed. That's the
Dude,
bed.
that looks like on Enter the Dragon, Mr. Han's fucking palace or something. Like, what is going on there,
That's
bro?
the 10th level of fuck.
Yeah, I'd be walking around in there like trying to find myself in the mirrors. You know what I mean? Like, look at that shit.
A few years back, that house was for sale. Is that the outside of it?
Yeah.
Wow. How dope. A few years back, the house was for
Epcot
sale.
Center.
It's an epic house.
He's like, I'll fuck my dog too. I'm not afraid.
But they had a really hard time selling it because it was worth a lot of money.
Look at that place, man.
It was worth a lot of money, and it wasn't the kind of house that a normal person could live in. It had like one bedroom.
Wilt Chamberlain's bungalow. Did you see that?
No. Look at the pool tables, like where his knees are. It's hilarious. I wonder if that house ever sold. It might be one of those things that you just keep selling and buying, but it's really funky, like modern for the 1980s looking.
It's a dope crib, man.
Oh yeah, man! Look at that place. It's all angular and shit, like a transformer.
2.5 acres.
Like you're expected to go.
What's something like that sell for now? I hear, even if it wasn't Wilt Chamberlain's house, what's something like
That's
that?
a $10 million house.
$10 million.
Depending on
Jesus.
where it is. If that's in the Hollywood Hills,
Yeah.
that fucking crazy palace with the way his pool is, like look at it.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a piece of art. That's not just a house. You'd have to have the right buyer. What am I, a real estate guy? Look at him flipping houses all of a sudden. Fuck do I know? I don't even know how much toothpaste cost. I'm telling you how much this house is. I like to say 10 million though. It's a good number. I want to say it's a dope house. No less than 10 million.
Yeah, in 2007, it was 10.5 million.
See, bitch, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Come on, man.
That's
10
pretty
the 0.5 is the negotiating. That's the
It
wiggle
was
room.
down from 11.5.
So it's sold,
This
or
was
that's
2000, this was like 8 years ago.
that's how much it was for sale.
It was listed at 11.5 and then
Oh.
was down to 10.5. So it might still be available.
Nah, I bet. Well, I bet a house like that, people buy it and they go, "What the fuck are we doing here? Let's make some money."
It's in Bel Air.
And then they sell that thing. Oh, Bel Air. Yeah, that's a expensive neighborhood. Dope views. Must be good to be Wilt Chamberlain back with no internet, no Twitter, no Facebook, just all dick.
Yeah, those guys really just could. I mean, free for all.
Oh yeah, come on, man, it's chaos. The President Kennedy was on a free for all. I mean, imagine that. The president just going buck wild. What's amazing is that everyone in the news, like all the reporters, they all knew it.
Yeah, they didn't.
was
They
well
didn't
known.
talk about it.
There was
The
no
Beatles.
stories written about it. Well, I wonder what that shift was. The shift was in America where they decided that they were just going to talk about everything. Like, what caused
Once they
the
knew
shift?
it sold.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
Once they figure out that's all people want is gossip, then they like,
What do you think
"Alright."
it was? Like, once there was too many different distribution methods, it seems like that's what it is, right? Like, if you only have, like, a couple of different newspapers and a couple of different television shows, it can all be kind of controlled.
I mean, monopolize, yeah.
Yeah, and you also put pressure on the reporters probably to not reveal that
WikiLeaks
stuff.
and that kind of shit. I mean, there was something on the radio in the car when I was coming here about there was a big document
Panama
released
leak?
today.
Yeah. I haven't gotten into it.
I just heard the Cliff Notes, but it sounds pretty heavy.
It's supposed to be the biggest leak of documentary.
Millions of
documents
pages,
ever.
or
Yeah, and apparently it just shows all this crazy collusion between world leaders and financial institutions.
I used to obsess about that shit, and I wanted to know, like, man. But now, at this stage in my life, I mean, I just go ahead and assume that it's all fucking crooked. So
it is definitely all crooked. But you know what I think, man? I think everybody's got to pay attention to it, obviously. I mean, we're all paying attention to it. But I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think you could do it anymore. I think these leaks are going to come more and more frequently, and they're going to be more and more accessible and more easy to get. I just don't think you're going to be able to fuck people like that anymore. I just don't think you could do it.
even the government.
I don't think they could do it anymore. I think what they're doing now, even right now, they're like clinging, just hanging on to this thing while it's shaking apart around them.
The Apple fiasco and all
They're
that.
not supposed to be in control of us, man.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be in control of Jamie. Jamie's not supposed to be in control of me. And the government's not supposed to be in control of you. There's supposed to be some operating principles that we all commune under. And our community should be established in a way that benefits us, not the big banks, not the politicians, not fucking Hillary Clinton giving $250,000 speeches to a bunch of Wall Street people. That's all nonsense. And that's some old shit that we just assume we have to stay with because it's been this way from the jump. It's been this way since we were kids. Well, my parents grew up with it, and this is the system. Bullshit. They're staying with this system, not because it's the best, but because they figure out the best way to extract money from it. You're not going to be able to do it. It's not going to happen. Once President Trump gets in office, everyone's going to realize what a fucking goddamn joke of a system we put in place, and there'll be some real talk about having some kind of a radical reform. Viva la revolution!
Like, what if they could just fire members of the Senate or the House of Representatives or Congress? They're
Probably
just
a good
like,
idea.
You're fired.
Yeah.
You can't
You're
just
fired, you
say
fuck.
we're not going to do our jobs.
Yeah. Well, there's just too many people that you don't know that have any say whatsoever on how you live your life. Like the idea that the Senate or that Congress or that the Supreme Court or any of these people could sit down and decide like what you can't do with your body, what substances you can or can't put into them, what should and shouldn't be illegal. Like that, you shouldn't be able to decide that.
That Nixon thing the other day was pretty interesting about where they were just like, this shit doesn't do anything. We just,
Yeah. Well, tell people what it was.
There was a former aide, I think. Was that right? Somebody in his
Yeah, someone who
basically came out and said that the war on drugs was propagated to suppress minorities and
anti-war movement.
And they knew that there was no threat there and that it wasn't doing anything harmful to people, and basically they're on tape talking about it and laughing.
Unbelievable.
It's somebody on late night the other night when it came out, they said it perfectly. Like that, even from the grave, that guy manages to cultivate more fucking hatred.
He was so crazy.
Dude, what an evil bastard.
Here it goes. Man. Last week, a quote from Richard Nixon's former chief domestic advisor, John Erickman, Erickman, surfaced, confirming a disgusting truth that's been very well known by black folks for several decades. The war on drugs had nothing to do with eradicating a drug epidemic. Instead, it was a ploy to hide for the intentional targeting and decimating of the black community. Well, as well as...
This paragraph is the real dinger.
This is Erickman's words. He said, the Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-war left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew that we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and the blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. Wow. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Holy fucking shit. Did we know we were lying about drugs? Of course we did. Whoa. Damn. That's dark. That guy's only concentrating on black people, though. Did you go to an all-black site? That guy just wants to talk about the black part. He's got a big, smiling black face. The whole thing's disgusting. It's disgusting that we live under the echoes of all these morons that were running the country back then. All these creeps that could get away with shit. Just like Wilt Chamberlain's up there banging up a storm and Marvin Gaye's coked up in Topanga Canyon with a 17-year-old. You can get away with anything back then. Apparently
you still can.
R. Kelly. Holla. R. Kelly allegedly. But that's,
If you're Dick Cheney, you could just shoot people in the fucking face, man. Like, literally.
Yeah, literally. Well, do you know what he was doing? It's a canned hunt. Those are weird, man. Do you know what that is?
That's where they go out and you're basically guaranteed a trophy.
No, man, they're bird hunting. So what happens is they go out and they open up these fucking boxes of birds, and the birds fly out and they shoot them.
And he still shot somebody in the face?
He still shot somebody in the face. And he wouldn't talk to anybody for like 16 hours afterwards. He was probably hammered.
Straight, man.
He was hammered.
Oh, man.
Most likely he was hammered.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Can he still sue even though he doesn't have a heart? He has like an artificial heart. Is he still allowed to sue? But he shot his friend in the face and his friend apologized. That's how fucking gangster Dick Cheney is.
Wow.
His friend was like 60. Walked it off.
Like really sorry I walked in front of your bullets, bro.
Yeah. They were probably lit out of their fucking mind. And you want to talk about PTSD? Do you imagine the demons inside the brain of Dick Cheney? Knowing what he knows. Could you imagine? I mean, if that guy has an ounce of self-realization, an ounce of objectivity, of introspective thought, where he really thinks about it. Did I do the right thing? Do you think that weapons of mass destruction? You think that was cool? Was that okay?
There's only a few 100,000 innocent.
A million people died, but it was probably for the best historically. I mean, they were going to die anyway. It's not like they're a million immortals, right? I mean, what?
You asking? Do I think?
No, I'm just
former
thinking.
Vice President Dick Cheney seeks daily affirmation.
Well, he's a biblical character in that right after he had done all of these things, right, he clearly pulled the strings to get us into Iraq, and there's clearly financial motives. I mean, he was the goddamn CEO of the company that got no bid, billion-dollar contracts
Emperor
to rebuild.
Palpatine, man. He's a damn Sith Lord. Like Bush, like him or hate him, he thought he was doing the right thing, Like the guy believed.
Well, this is the thing, the undeniable biblical thing about him. So the guy has a ton of heart attacks, right?
Yeah.
They replaced his fucking heart. They replaced his valves with some machine. And this machine constantly pumped blood to the point where he didn't have a pulse. It was a constant flow. So if you put your finger on Dick Cheney while he had this artificial heart in place, he wouldn't have a pulse.
It's Darth Vader.
He's Darth Vader.
He's fucking Darth Vader.
He's like
the old man at the era in Prometheus that was like pretending to be dead and shit.
Make sure that's true. I'm pretty sure I'm correct about that, Jamie. Pull that up about Dick Cheney's heart being artificial and not having a pulse.
Okay, yeah, I was just reading about the actual event on how it happened, and he shot him in the face, and they blamed the guy, Whittington is his name, for walking in front of him.
Ah, fucking idiot. Listen, man, you don't point your gun where people are. The guy didn't walk in front of you. That's crazy. As a person who fires guns, you don't ever point your gun anywhere near a person. If a person walks in front, you pull your gun away from where that person is. If you have to be aware of your left and your right at all times. You don't stand in front of somebody. The guy didn't just... It's not that guy's fault. Bionic Dick Cheney technically has no pulse. Here it goes. During a recent heart surgery, doctors implanted a ventricular assist device to augment Cheney's failing ticker, but it also gives his critics another punchline to work with because the device moves blood continuously. It doesn't mimic the pulsating rhythm of the heartbeat. Technically speaking, Dick Cheney no longer has a pulse. Insert Darth Vader comparisons here. And this is in 2010.
And that dude's still kicking.
That's amazing, man. I used to do this bit about Dick Cheney where he had one extra Secret Service agent. Like every other guy had 5, but he had 6. And this one, they put him on like this all vegetarian diet, and they had to do jogging every day. He's like, why the fuck do I have to jog? And there was always a guy behind them with a giant cooler filled with ice. And the moment Dick Cheney has a heart attack, they were going to take that dude out, cut his chest open, shove his heart inside of Dick Cheney, and save Dick Cheney with this one extra Secret Service agent that was a sacrifice. He's a dark guy, man. He was the CEO of the company that profited the most from them blowing shit up in Iraq.
Bro, around the time that I was in the Navy, they re-implemented this anthrax vaccination policy. I think they'd done it in the first Gulf War too, and a lot of people think it's directly what's responsible for the Gulf War syndrome and all those guys like dealing with chronic muscle spasms and fatigue and.
Really?
So yeah, but like it came down the pipeline again. They're gonna make it a mandatory thing for everybody. And then I think in '98 they recalled it. I can't remember 98 or 99, but the Times and all these people had already kind of dug in and figured out that there was only one lab in the entire world authorized and regulated to manufacture the vaccine. I think their lab was Bioport up in Michigan, and one of the owners of the lab was a former admiral of the Navy and also on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I think his last name was Crow. And this guy, so you're telling me that dude didn't know that this contract, this major multi-billion-dollar defense contract coming down the pipeline, and then jumps in and buys this company, to start pumping people with shit that they have no idea. And the lab got shut down while they're manufacturing all this stuff. So
my God.
Who knows how many hundreds of thousands of people had to put that shit in their body, And
they will fucking experiment on soldiers. They have done it in the past. The precedent has been set a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember in boot camp, you go down this cattle line, and there's like 6 people, and you just keep going through, and you go through, and it's like poof, 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 all these like shots, guns. I have no idea to this day what a lot of it even was, man.
Really?
I got stationed overseas, so we had to take a bunch of typhoid, but there's a whole lot of shit on. They don't even tell you what they're putting in you,
They don't have to tell
like for
you.
a week, you can't lift your arms up. You know what I mean? It's just like
how fucked is that? Is that they don't have to tell you? They don't have to tell you.
No.
That's crazy. That they can just shoot vaccinations in you and they don't have to tell you what they're doing.
And if you refuse to take them, they put you in prison.
Really?
Yeah. Or the brig, like a lot of guys.
How long do they put you in for? Till you give in?
No, I knew guys that I think it was like 90 days restriction.
That's it?
Yeah.
And then they don't have to shoot you when you get out?
No, it's not like that. It's just it's one of those. But I mean, it was obviously about making money.
Fuck.
Because I mean, anthrax. Let's say you get hit with weaponized anthrax. All right, and even if you've been vaccinated, it's a spore, it's a virus. It's going to mutate as soon as it hits the air. So, I guess the argument or the reasoning was that it might make you live 30 or 40 extra seconds longer so you can hit the button and launch some more missiles at them. I don't know what the reasoning behind it was, but it was a big deal. I remember when that story came out. They found out that the admiral owned the company. You know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute, what?
That's so crazy.
Is this legal?
That's so crazy.
I wonder if he took the shot.
I doubt it. Well, I'd heard that Gulf War syndrome was connected to depleted uranium. Maybe it was several different factors.
Who knows, man?
Yeah. Many different factors, because they know that they definitely used depleted uranium in shells as anti-tank weapons. That's been proven, and that was something that they were never supposed to use. And the half-life on that shit is something like 100,000 years or something nutty. So there's these places in Iraq to this day that are just fucksville from these depleted uranium shells slamming into tanks, and then soldiers would take pieces from those tanks as memories. They take them home as souvenirs. Yeah. And so you're carrying something that's highly radioactive. Like those depleted uranium shells, it's like literally nuclear waste.
Right.
And they use that as a shell, and it just goes through everything. I mean, you're harnessing the power of the sun to blow a hole through a Jeep. And then these poor fuckers, they stumble upon this Jeep, and nobody had told them shit. And they're, hey, man, I'm going to take this license plate home. You shouldn't even be anywhere near that. You shouldn't even be a mile away from that fucking Jeep. Meanwhile, they're hanging around that goddamn thing.
Who knows, man? My grandfather was in the South Pacific during World War II, and even as an older man, he must have gotten something in his blood over there, because it could be the middle of July, and he'd be sitting in the house with like long johns and corduroy pants and a flannel shirt on, talking about, I'm cold, you know?
Jesus.
Just like, so I mean, there must have been some kind of this nerve gas or.
Well, maybe even just tropical diseases.
Yeah.
I talked to this guy. He's an expert in infectious diseases. His name is Peter Hotez. He's a professor, I think, at the University of Houston. But he's specializes in diseases that people get in tropical climates. And he told me that when you look at a tropical environment, 100% of those people are infected with some sort of parasite.
100%. Built up resistance to it.
Well, or not, or they're affected by it. Like we were talking about all sorts of different moisture-borne bacterial diseases that people get from dirty water and stuff that you just get from bugs and you get from the air.
And it's a jungle, man. You're basically living in a petri dish.
Yep. You live in a nice...
New shit's coming to life every day.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about the jungle, right, if you go there and you see all that vegetation, all right, ever around you is just life and crickets and bugs and snakes and spiders and cats and fucking sloths and eagles and monkeys and shit. Whoa. Like, there's so much life there that it's at a macro level, too. It's at a micro level. Mm-hmm. Like, there's life that you're not going to see. Yeah. It's going to get into your body.
It's crawling up your asshole right now while you're swimming or, you know,
eating. It becomes a part of you.
Yeah.
Like, they have these parasites that become a part of you. A buddy of mine got trichinosis.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He got trichinosis from eating bear meat that wasn't cooked that well. Actually, he was on the show. His name is Steve Rinella. He's hosted this show called Meat Eater. And he was on the show with a bunch of other crew members. They all ate this bear. And they didn't cook it well. They didn't cook it well enough. And they were joking about getting trichinosis at the time. So they all got trichinosis. So they have these little tiny worms, these larvae, that are in their body forever.
Growing.
Well, they don't grow.
Oh, okay.
They just stay dormant in your body until someone comes along. Say if you ate Steve Rinella and you didn't cook him to 160 degrees, you would get trichinosis from him. Like, it's in him.
Forever.
Just part of the deal. And he said he was like really deathly sick for like 7 days. Felt like shit, like he had the flu, in pain all the time, was aching in pain. And then it went away. And then you just deal with the fact that now you have trichinosis. But like in these tropical environments, there's tons of people that have all sorts of crazy parasites in their body.
I think dysentery or malaria, any damn thing.
Yeah. And some parasites they're just starting to now understand. There's parasites that affect behavior. Like there's some shit called toxoplasmosis. Have you heard of that one? The cat parasite?
Endoplasmosis. You can fucking die from smelling bird shit, man.
Yes. Dude, one of the creepiest stories I'd ever heard was these guys in Africa. They were standing in front of a cave. I think it was Africa. And they were standing in front of a cave, and they were scientists, and they wanted to photograph these bats flying out of the cave when they would go out at night. Because, the bats leave caves en masse. And there was millions of bats, literally millions of bats in this cave. And so they parked out in front of this cave. They set up the camera.
Piles of bat shit too, I bet.
Exactly. They got shit on. That's what they didn't anticipate.
Oh, while they're flying out of the cave, they got shit all over.
They got shit on, and they got deathly ill, and they were dead within weeks. Both guys died.
I saw a thing on TV about that.
Yeah, they died from hemorrhagic viruses, which means they start bleeding out of their fucking eyeballs.
That's what you get for going and looking in bat caves, man.
Well, bring that raincoat, son.
Some goggles.
Yeah, man. Don't eat it. Definitely don't eat it. But it gets in your skin. Like, you can't have that shit on your skin. Like, you can get sick just from it contacting your face. Dirty bat shits on your face, you could probably die.
I'd want to.
Yeah. Oh, man. There's so many parts of the world where there's so much life, and that life is so much more dangerous. We're just so used to life being like, oh, look at the squirrel. I love wildlife. Look at that bird. So cute. Look at that.
Yeah, you always hear about these people like talking about going down to Ecuador and Peru to do ayahuasca. I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to go out there in that damn jungle with all those bugs and caterpillars and shit, snakes crawling up my leg.
They say that's part of the experience is going to the jungle, but yeah, you can do that in Malibu. You can do it in Malibu.
I'm good, man.
You could just sit down in a house.
I'll do the Cliff Notes.
The Cliff Notes is DMT. Man, I think going to the jungle would probably be pretty badass, but you have to
Leopards
have a
and
thermostat
shit,
with
man,
you.
all running around in the woods. You're
No.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have people that are awake with spotlights and guns. Yeah. You don't want to be that one dude that goes to South America and gets jacked by a leopard.
I'll just sleep in this tree.
Jaguar. Be a
It'll
jaguar.
fine. Jaguar.
Jaguar, South America, right? Leopards, Africa, Asia.
That sounds
I
right.
think so. Yeah, man.
This has been a National Geographic podcast, man.
They oftentimes are.
You know a guy named Steve Mears?
Mears? How you spell
I
his
think
last name?
he's a British guy. He's like a naturalist and knows. He's like probably a master survivalist, but I think it's Mears. Steve, look it up. Steve Mears, man. You should try to get him on the show sometime.
Yeah?
I used to sit and just watch hours of YouTube videos. He's like one of the. You can just tell he's just like a beautiful human being, but he knows all about. It's like Bear Grylls and Mr. Rogers. You know what I mean?
Combined together?
But a little bit more legit on
Really?
the knowledge side.
Then
yeah.
Bear Grylls?
Yeah.
Bear Grylls was legit.
Oh,
but
sure.
Bear Grylls got compromised by Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Do you know why Bear Grylls got that show?
I have no
I'll
idea.
give you some information.
Drinking his piss?
Nope. Les Stroud, Survivor Man, did not want to fake anything. Les Stroud did all his own shit. He went by himself. He put himself in dangerous situations. He lost tons of weight on camera where he was literally starving to death.
Right.
He documented the entire thing.
By
Encounters,
himself.
100% by himself. Encounters with wild animals, like really dangerous situations, almost starving to death, almost freezing to death, having to make fire on your own, and going there with a very limited amount of things to keep. Like he would go there with like a pocket knife. He would allow himself some string that he could go fishing with. Go. And he would stay for 7 days and have a drop-off point where they would drop him off, then a pickup point. And if he didn't go to the pickup point, then they'd have to go looking for him. But they wanted to fake stuff. And Bear Grylls filled that gap because Les wouldn't fake anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, we're not bringing a camera crew because then it's not me by myself. You lose all of what makes the show special. So what he did is just a bunch of things that like they set up, like, if I found this sheep, I could take it and make a coat. You know, like they put the sheep there. They killed the sheep. They did it for him.
Better drink
you know?
my piss.
Like he'd be like doing all these stunts, like jumping from tree to tree
Yeah,
and
unnecessary
sliding
risks.
down. Look at these, hanging out with hippos.
Is it this guy?
No.
His name's Steve Blackshaw. I can't find a Steve.
What was his last name?
This guy,
Mears.
Steve
Ray
Blackshaw.
Mears.
Ray Mears.
Ray Mears.
This guy's
Sorry.
hanging out with hippos. That guy's insane.
Ray Mears. Gangster.
There's a show called Carter's War, and it's this show about this guy who is an anti-poaching official in Africa, and he tries to prevent them from poaching all these animals. A lot of it is for the Asian market, for rhino horn and a bunch of these different animals that they want like ivory from, and rhino horn's a big one, though. They keep finding these rhinos murdered with their horns hacked off. It's a fucking sobering show, man, for two reasons. One, because you see what people are willing to do to these animals. Just shoot them in the head and cut their fucking horns off and cut half their face off with like a chainsaw and shit. It's crazy. And then also you see how fucking poor these people are. And then you realize, like, of course they're going to do that. Like, if they can shoot that rhino and make $50,000 from its magic horn, you know, or whatever the fuck they make, they probably make $50, you know? But if they can make that, and it's between them starving and not starving, like that's literally what you're looking at.
Yeah. Everything's subjective.
Is this the gentleman?
That's him.
This show's called Bushcraft.
Bushcraft.
He's hanging out with a wolf. Look at this motherfucker. He knows the wolves.
He's like the most unassuming guy ever, but he's so badass, dude.
It's called Bushcraft?
Bushcraft. Yeah.
Is it an English show or an
It's
Australian
English.
show?
Yeah, on the BBC, I believe.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Dude will just walk out in the
Ray
woods
Mears.
with nothing but a damn.
Oh, there he is.
Metal
What's he
pot.
cooking there? A fish?
With the,
Looks like some piece of meat or something he got. Yeah, these guys that are into like surviving on their own, like that they take great pleasure with that, they're always fascinating. Like
he's really more of a
Survivor Man show.
naturalist too, like fauna and natural vegetation and foraging food on your own. That kind of, it's a lot more useful information than just, okay, you got 3 days. Drink your piss and don't get eaten by an alligator. There we go. It's like, no, man.
Well, Survivor Man came up with all that on his own. It's his concept because he was actually living in the forest with his pregnant wife. The two of them there by themselves when he was a younger man. Like he did this on his own before he was famous. Like he's been doing this forever.
What's his background? Where did he learn it all?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. He told me, I forgot. I think he just learned.
No, I remember watching the show.
A lot
like that dude is
and,
suffering.
Oh yeah,
for those 30 minutes of viewing entertainment.
He's got this wacky thing he's doing now, though. He's looking for Bigfoot. He's got a Survivor Man. Bigfoot is like the biggest thing since sliced bread.
Leavenworth, Washington.
That's where he is?
That's where he's at.
Did you see him?
Yeah, so we got a cup of coffee on the side of the road one day, and this lady had a whole photo album full of pictures of Bigfoot in her backyard.
What did it look like?
It looked like some bullshit.
Like her neighbor jacking off?
Yeah. She's selling coffee, though.
I talked to one lady when I was doing this sci-fi show. We did a whole episode on Bigfoot. One lady that I really believe saw something. I really believe she did. But what I think she probably saw was a black bear, because black bears walk on their hind legs. There's video of black bears walking like 100 yards on their hind legs. What makes you believe her? She was very earnest in what she was talking about. It wasn't sensational in any way at all. What she was telling me was pretty straightforward. And I also believe her because there's black bears in that area. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly densely wooded. Like the area that she's talking about was the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's some wilderness, man.
I guess Mount Rainier. Is that Mount Rainier that's right outside of Washington? Right outside of Seattle? It's gorgeous
up there.
If
that big hairy fucker is real, that's the only place he could possibly exist, because you could absolutely disappear in that forest, man.
Yep.
That's some dense wilderness.
And filled with food. Filled with
That's
wild
definitely
game.
not me saying I believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah. You're 100% correct, though. If there was an animal like that, that would be the spot. It also would be the spot because that's the spot where it would make sense geographically.
Yeah.
My feeling is, what I believe, I bet it used to be real. Because at one point in time, there was a thing called Gigantopithecus that lived in Asia. It was as recently as 100,000 years ago, which is not that long. And that was when the Bering Strait was connected. So Asia and the United States, you could actually walk from Asia to the United States. Then the landmass was in place in the Ice Age and was all frozen over. So during that time, it would have been entirely possible. Because so many Native American cultures have names for that animal. Mm-hmm. They have names for this like man that lives in the forest.
Yeah,
there's like 100
Yeti.
names for him.
How's the same legend on the other side of the world about some crazy?
Well, and it was real.
Right.
And then also on top of that thing being real, they also know that there was those little hobbit people in the island of Flores. And there's the theory about that thing is that it's either the most recent one. They think that it might have been as recently as 50,000 years ago, but I think they thought it was like 14,000 years ago until recently. Look at this. That's a bear, dude. That is a bear. Look at that. That's a real legit black bear. So imagine if you saw that. You'd say, well, for sure that's Bigfoot.
Especially that last little frame.
Yeah. See, when bears hurt their paw, like if they get bitten in their paw and their paw gets infected, they can walk on their back legs. And they could do it for hundreds of yards. So I think she saw that.
Just when you thought they couldn't get any scarier.
There's a bunch of videos of bears doing that. It's not just that one bear. So there's a lot of evidence that bears walk like that. So this one lady that I talked to, I bet she saw a black bear that was walking on its hind legs. That's what I bet. It only makes sense. You can't see anything in there anyway. That's the thing about those woods. No. You lived up there, right? You lived up in Seattle?
For a minute, yeah.
You can't see shit in those woods.
No. We used to go up. There's like a little weird Swiss mountain ski town called Leavenworth. I don't know. A buddy of mine, we drove there on our way to Vancouver to go partying. That was like farther east, I think. But it was like just, in the middle of nothing, man. Just trees.
Right.
You could just walk off into it and disappear.
Well, Les, when he was camping, he was doing an episode of Survivor Man, and he was up in Alaska. And he says that he heard some noise outside of his tent, and he barely moved. Like he didn't want to move. He wanted to see if he could get to his camera and try to record this. And he heard something that sounded like a primate, something like made like some primate type noise. And then when he went to open up his tent and look outside, the thing took off running. And he said it sounded like bipedal footprints, like a large, heavy bipedal thing. The problem is, I've heard bears make that kind of sound. I've heard them personally, seen them with my eyes fighting with each other.
Right.
They go, they make like almost like a gorilla sound.
Gorilla.
And they're attacking each other, and they're like, they're making this crazy noise. It was a mother trying to keep a male bear away from her cubs, and they fought right in front of us, like within 100 yards. I watched them duke it out, UFC style.
Where were you?
Alberta. I was watching it go down.
Shit, man.
So I've heard bears make like a monkey sound.
That makes much more practical sense to me than a 7-foot tall Chewbacca that no one's ever seemed to be able to lay eyes or hands on, you know.
Well,
we got drones now, man.
I wanted to believe so bad. That's like the one thing I want to believe in.
Bigfoot?
Almost as much as aliens. Those UFO reports. Aliens and UFOs are like the one. That's the 1-2 punch for what you want to believe in.
Man, yeah.
Other than love.
Well, that too. Yeah, it's all about love, bro. I don't know. We don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Black holes and infinite multiverses.
Well, I without a doubt
kind of
think
egotistical
there's
to
life
think
out there.
That we're the I guess the question is, why would they fucking care?
Well,
or maybe they do. I mean, this is pretty interesting. I'd watch it. You know,
for sure. I mean, come on, man. We studied turtles. You know, dudes travel to the jungle to study a fucking butterfly.
Some heavy stuff going on the back of a turtle, Joe Rogan.
That's true. Not to demean turtles. Look, if turtles were on the moon, oh my God, we'd be flying jets to visit them every day.
Oldest known species on Earth. They outdate crocodiles.
Really? Whoa.
Yeah, turtles. Been around longer than any other living creature on the planet.
They're like nail clippers. They never had to make them any better.
It's perfect design.
Yeah, like when I was a kid, nail clippers were exactly the same. They haven't done anything. I mean, they've made better can openers. They've made better Tupperware.
Yeah.
They've improved almost every aspect. I guess steak knives are pretty much the same.
Even the number of like the shell, you know, the you know, it's like the symmetrical patterns of the shell. There's 13, no matter how big they are or small. So, like a lot of the Indians believe that coincided with the 13 lunar cycles of the moon. Yeah, I made a whole album cover all about this shit. I was just like, me and the guys, like, how weird can we get with this thing? It's just make the tackiest record cover ever.
They are a very fascinating creature. I mean, anytime you see patterns, like even like a nautilus shell, see these patterns, these repeating patterns that the animals have. Like, you go, okay, well, why is there some sort of a geometric pattern into this animal's design? You know?
It's almost fractal, really.
Oh, it is. Yeah. It's the Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence manifests itself in like sunflowers. Like they say, like if you look at a pine cone, the Fibonacci sequence is in a pine cone. Meaning it's a sequence of numbers like 0, and then there's 1, and then there's 1, and then there's 2, and 1 plus 2, and then there's 3, and 3 plus 2 is 5, and then 5 plus 3 is 8, and it keeps going on and on and on, and it's this exponential equation. And when you're adding all those things up, that same sequence can be found in the shape of people's faces, and honeycombs, and a bunch of different designs. Like pine cones. There you see, Jamie's got some stuff they pull up of it. The Fibonacci numbers in nature. There's this crazy green fruit that's always at my, it might be a vegetable. That's it. What is that fucking thing? That fruit.
Kind of broccoli.
Yeah.
What is it?
Romanesque broccoli.
Romanesque broccoli. It's like the DMT fruit. Like when you look at that, like that is fractal geometry in fruit form, or in vegetable form rather. Really weird, but that's the Fibonacci sequence. Like if you go to the very top and you see how small it is, see, and then as it tapers down, it gets larger, and the numbers all exponentially increase. It's just so fascinating.
Tool,
yeah,
incorporates a lot of that in the time signatures of their music. Man.
Yes, yeah, they
got
did.
Really into that band for a while when I was younger.
Do you know that Maynard Keener is going to fight Ronda Rousey in an MMA match?
I did not know that,
yeah.
But I knew he was.
And if he loses, he's getting a sex change.
You're bullshitting me?
Of course I am. I'm trying to help spread a rumor.
Awesome.
I'll show you some pictures afterwards.
He does. Is he like a jiu-jitsu guy?
Yeah. I believe he's got his purple belt. I'm pretty sure he's got his purple belt. But he's very dedicated. He's so dedicated, he got a hip replacement and went back to training.
Badass.
Yeah, here it goes. Fight Ronda Rousey.
Interesting
epic
cat,
MMA
man.
bout. Look at it.
Awesome.
He's a fucking character. I love that dude.
You ever met him?
Oh yeah, I hung out with him.
Really?
He's been on the show a couple times. He's a good dude.
He's
one of my
great
most-
lyricist, man.
Yeah.
When I lived out there, there's a lot of kinds of music I just discovered that I probably never would have gotten into otherwise. And that band, I really had a little phase. Lyrically speaking, I thought it was some of the more cathartic and kind of sardonic stuff I'd ever heard. Really intelligent way of saying things. And I was never a metal guy.
He's almost too smart for his own good. He's one of those guys, when you talk to him like this, you might be just in your own way all the time.
Right.
So it's one of the reasons why I think he decided to start a wine business in the middle of nowhere. Just like, and his wine is fucking excellent. I don't know if you're a wine person, if you like wine, but Caduceus wine, I just know what I like, and I love it. It's great. He has a bunch of different kinds of wines, but he's a legit wizard when it comes to winemaking. He really knows his shit inside and out. It's not like some sort of a thing that he lends his name to, like fucking Orson Welles, we'll sell no wine before it's time. No, this is his wine company. Like, he has created it, and he's also like figured out a way to cultivate grapes in this very weird spot in Arizona where I don't think anybody was doing it before him.
So he had to start the thing from scratch.
Oh yeah, he did the whole thing from
scratch.
scratch.
Didn't that take like years?
Yes, he's been doing it for years. He's nuts, man. We've had some long-ass conversations about it. Yeah, he's one of the coolest people that I talk to all the time.
That's ballsy, man. Because I might be wrong, but I think you have to bring in a couple harvests, and then you won't even know if the grapes are going to be any good.
Yeah.
If that's a good spot for it. So you're putting all this money up.
Well, you have to analyze the soil, and you have to know what you're doing as far as fertilizing it, and there's so many factors involved in how to. I mean, it's an art. It's a crazy art that you wind up eating. You wind up drinking at the very end of it. But creating the taste, it's like the expression of the art instead of an audible thing, like a song. It becomes a palate thing. But it's very much like the way he creates music. He creates this wine, and it's a form of art. It's like not mass-produced, like Coca-Cola, but he's making more than one bottle. He's got several acres, and he creates this art. And you experience that art instead of listening to a CD. You're experiencing that art when you drink his wine. Very fascinating guy, man.
They just played in Nashville not too long ago. I was on tour, or I probably would have gone. But yeah, I'd say top 5 shows of all time in my life, Tool is probably at least 2 of those spots.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, it's just, they're so incredibly tight live, just aesthetically in the presentation. And it's, most like big loud metal shows, it's like,
right.
It was pristine, like sound wise, and the drummer's a machine.
Yeah.
Danny Carey.
I wouldn't put them in a metal category. Maybe I'd be wrong.
I don't know what you'd call it. It was so unique. I remember hearing it, even thinking that's very some complex shit going on, man.
Yeah, we're talking about like motivating songs. You ever that riff in the song "Prison Sex"?
Yeah.
The beginning. Down. When you're lifting weights and that comes on, you can lift more weights, man. You can lift more weights. You feel stronger. You're like, ah! If you're tired, you're on the elliptical machine, that comes on, you're like, ah! You can fucking push through. I mean, it does something to your body. It energizes you. Like, it's a real feeling that you get. We don't think of it as a real feeling because you can't put it on a scale.
Very visceral music.
Yeah, it's something's happening to you.
Yeah.
When you listen to a jam that's done correctly.
Oh, I mean, I you hate to think about that. I think those guys actually experimented with frequencies and a lot of those deep down pitch tunings and time signatures are some very, very, very Eastern and melodian time signatures that they're alternating.
Yeah.
And the off down beat. It's some heavy shit,
Heavy
man.
shit.
Heavy. They
shit.
put thought into that music.
Well, the one song that they orchestrated to the
But you
Fibonacci
can totally
sequence.
manipulate human emotions with tones and keys and vibrations.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, have you ever fucked around with binaural beats?
I mean, not for fun or like on record.
Either for fun. I haven't done it either way. but I know that it's real. I mean, I know that people swear by it. It affects your brain waves. I mean,
there's a reason all these tribes throughout history out in the middle of nowhere are banging on drums when they're doing their thing.
Fuck yeah, man. There's Icaros. I don't know how they say
Icaros.
it. But you play when you do DMT, and the DMT entities dance to the Icaros. I mean, like, it's a part of the thing. Like, when you do them together, then you understand it. If you listen to the music independently, you're like, fucking weird music. It's kind of trippy, but it's weird. I'll play you some of it.
Do you think that shit's meant for people
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is created by a shaman. The one that I have on my phone that I play, it is created by a shaman. It's by this guy. Let me see if I have his homeboy's name in here. I think his name is actually on the recording itself. Let me find it here. God damn it, I don't have it on this phone.
Well, I was going to say, do you think it's meant, I mean, other than the people who are naturally from those areas where these things grow out of the ground and occur, and they use them to connect with, on a religious level, their spirit animals and things they believe in, but like the tourists going down there and drinking that shit, how do you feel about that?
Well, it's like everything else. You're going to get legit ones, and then you're going to get people that realize there's a lot of money in tourists coming out here and taking this wacky shit.
Right.
And so they figure out how to make it. So you're going to get people that are taking advantage of people. You're going to get people that are, doing all sorts of negative shit. And then you're going to get legit shaman, people that are legitimately involved in the spiritual quest of attaining enlightenment and reaching a neighboring dimension. Like, they really believe that they're reaching a neighboring dimension, that they're tapping into something that's around us all the time, but that we don't have access to in a normal state of consciousness. And it's the well of souls
Definitely
that you're tapping
that.
into. Yeah. It's something, I mean, it's real easy to dismiss, especially for someone who's never experienced it. It's real easy to dismiss and say it's all in your imagination. But for someone who has experienced it, it's very difficult to accept. And it's very difficult for you to say that you know for sure that it's all your imagination if you haven't experienced it. I appreciate from an intelligence standpoint someone's perspective on it that hasn't experienced it. But the reality is, until you know what you're talking, until you've actually gone into that thing and know how titanically alien it is, you're really just saying things. You're just making noises with your mouth. There's no way you could know. It's not like it's, well, I had a dream once and it was kind of simple. No. You're not there anymore. You go to a different place. You experience a different reality.
More real than what we normally interpret as reality.
That's the most fucked up part about it, is it's so much crisper and more vibrant and brighter, and then reality itself seems muted in some odd way. It's almost like we're like having sex with a condom on, and a big thick fucking trash bag condom. And when you pass through to whatever the fuck this other dimension is, that filter, the frosted window is removed, and you could see it all. The fog's gone, the clouds are gone, and you just, boom, get shot through a cannon to the middle of reality. And that middle of reality is some strange geometric living environment where there's no three-dimensional objects that aren't touching each other. Everything is connected to everything else. Like, there's a bunch of different things. They're constantly alternating all the time. But there's no space between anything. There's no like space between you and me. Not in that world. It doesn't exist. There's no space. Everything is everything. It's all together. It's all together. And you feel all together. Like, for the first time ever, you don't feel like you're sitting in Canoga Park in a chair with a roof over your head, and above that roof is the sky, and above the sky is the moon. You don't feel that. When you're in this, you feel like you feel down, infinite. You feel to the left and to the right, infinite. You feel above, but you also feel like you're in a room. It feels fractal, and it's fucking crazy. So, I mean, it might all be in your imagination, but my take on it has always been, even if it is, even if you're not going to a well of souls and experiencing God and experiencing purity and wisdom, it's the same exact experience as if you were. So even if it is in your imagination has
pretty cool.
some fucking amazing I mean, it might be that's what you're experiencing. It very well might be. You don't know, and there's no way to tell. And it's easy to be cynical. It's easy to be dismissive. It's easy to say, "Oh, come on, these fucking hippies. They think they're experiencing God through some powder that they smoke." Way to go, meathead. Yeah, you really are. It's cute. It's fun to do. It's easy to dismiss it. But once you do it, there's no dismissing it when you're there. There's no dismissing it.
There's no easy explanation.
There's no easy anything once you're there. Once you're in there, you better let go, bitch. You better let go. You better not try to fucking wrap your head around this. Just breathe and try not to freak out. And with that note, ladies and gentlemen, what are you doing in town, man?
I gotta do. I don't gotta do anything. We are getting ready to put a record out, and tomorrow we're taping a live show for a radio station, and then Wednesday we're taping a song for Conan.
Oh, beautiful.
And then so just a little quick trip out. Get to finally get the new band out of rehearsal space and see what's going on, though. I'm excited.
Nice. It was fun. Last time I went with you to Conan. It was fun, man.
Those TV things, as they go, it's always a strange dynamic, even for performers, because you get there and you do it and you wait and you do it again for TV, and and you do it and you wait and you wait and you wait. But of all of the ones that we played, I think that one, and maybe it's just because it's in California, but there's a far more mellow, laid back vibe.
I think Conan's a really nice guy.
The studio space is bigger. A lot of the New York ones, it's still fun, but they're older, more tight buildings, and the union crews are on they're running it crack tight.
Right.
Which may be a better thing to keep your adrenaline up.
You've
been sitting around all day, and then at 4:30, like, okay, you're on in 2 minutes. By the way, millions of people are going to watch this.
So when is this going to be on?
That I'm not sure. We're taping it because we're out here for the other thing, as opposed to waiting until the fall when we're actually here on tour. So we just bring everybody out, and we've done it twice. But yeah, him and Andy, they've been great to us, man.
No, they're awesome, man. He's a great guy. He's a well-known, nice guy.
Really?
Yeah, it just seems like it. You can tell he's doing a show.
He's a genuine music lover too.
Yeah. Listen, man, it's always been fun. We got to do this more often. Fuck yeah, Sturgill Simpson.
Apparently, I'll be coming here every once in a while.
Keep it coming.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back tomorrow with Kevin Rose. See you there later. Oh, yeah.